Hey everybody, welcome to episode 58 of the Toys for Games cast. We're recording this on Thursday, February 11th, 2016. I am one of your hosts, Josh Brown. I am joined by the almost birthday boy, Jason Greer.
Good evening, Josh. It feels a little bit different to do a Thursday or a normal Wednesday, but for many good reasons, which we'll get to in a second. But
Yes,
it's exciting to be a big episode.
Fabulous reasons, one might say. Also a little bit earlier too. I left work early to come do this podcast, and I've never been more excited to leave work. So
I know it frees me up to do the Deadpool premiere. I mean, it's a win-win. So
it is. What a way to start off your birthday weekend, right?
Yeah, true story.
We are joined by someone very special. We've reached out to them. We've interacted with them on Twitter. We've talked about it on the podcast a few times, but we just couldn't do it enough justice just talking about it ourselves because we don't know that much about it. Of course, I'm talking about the game Fabulous Beasts. We've mentioned it before. It is a Kickstarter project, but joining us tonight, we have Alex Fleetwood, who is the studio head of Sensible Object, and he has come on to talk about Fabulous Beasts. Hello, Alex.
Hey, how you guys?
We are fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a great pleasure.
Yes. So, like I said, we discovered you guys a couple weeks ago. Immediately fell in love with this project and this game, and immediately wanted to just reach out and try to get you guys on the podcast here to explain what this game is, why you think this will fit into the Toys to Life genre or evolve the genre, because that's something that we've talked about a lot. So it's really a pleasure and an honor to have you on this podcast to kind of give everybody the full breakdown of what we're talking about here.
Sure. Well, yeah. Let me start by telling you a little bit about the studio. So we're a 5-person team based in central London, and so we're using a bunch of maker technologies like 3D printing and Arduino to tackle the Toys to Life space, but as an independent studio. So we are, we're a small team trying to come up with something creative and different that can operate in that same Toys to Life space. So we've been working on this game for a little over a year. We have a base in central London in a maker space called Makerversity. So we have access to workshops and 3D printers and a bunch of awesome people who help us out. And yeah, we launched our Kickstarter campaign a couple of weeks ago. We're kind of about 2/3 of the way to our goal right now. So super excited about that.
Okay, is Fabulous Beasts your first game that you're making?
So I've been making games for about 10 years.
Okay.
I had a studio in London called Hide and Seek. Hide and Seek was an agency, so we worked with clients and partners to make games for all kinds of different things. So we worked a little bit with companies like Nike. We also worked with Warner Brothers on a couple of movie games. So we did a Sherlock Holmes web game that was like a prequel to the first movie with Robert Downey Jr. And we did a ton of games that like combined physical and digital play in some kind of different way. Sometimes those were like big street games or festival events. Sometimes it was games for museums and galleries. And like I really developed this deep interest in how you can combine physical and digital play in different ways. And, really wanted to kind of dive more deeply into that and really come up with a game that I could work on for a long time to try and really perfect that, make something really rich and interesting. And so I formed a new company, Sensible Object, and Fabulous Beasts is our first game.
Okay. Like you said, you're trying to combine the digital and the physical world of gaming. But Fabulous Beasts is also kind of trying to join video games as we know it with board games. Which, that genre hasn't really been approached often.
Sure.
And now that you're throwing in like the Toys to Life type of gameplay as well, this whole thing is just an amazing idea. So I need some clarification, not necessarily from me, but for our listening audience about Fabulous Beast, what it is, and
what it is, how does it work?
yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like that stuff's good. Let's do that. Okay, so Fabulous Beasts is a cooperative game with 3 elements. So the elements are a set of 24 curiously shaped objects, physical objects, a custom hardware sensing platform, and a connected app running on a tablet or smartphone device. And the theme of the game is that the players who are working together, 1 to 5 players, take on the role of gods and goddesses, and they're trying to collaborate to build a world full of fabulous beasts. And the way that they do that is by building a balancing tower out of the objects on the sensing platform. So every time a player wants to introduce new objects' powers to the world, they scan the object to the platform, and then they have to stack it into the tower. So, for example, a player might choose to play one of the beast pieces, let's say bear. They'll scan bear to the tower, and then if they successfully stack it, bear will enter the world. So some of the other pieces have magic powers like being able to cross 2 beasts to make a hybrid. Some pieces have like miracle-like powers that make everything in the world twice as fabulous. They give you a ×2 bonus, but they also give you some kind of additional dexterity challenge that you have to accomplish while you're stacking objects onto the tower. So there's all these different pieces, and you're trying to build this tower up. But when the tower falls, players have just a few seconds while their world is unstable to rebuild the tower, to get everything back on. And if they don't succeed in that, then the world that they're creating will come to a rather explosive end.
Is there a pressure pad like in the base?
Right.
Does it recognize that things just kind of fell apart?
Yeah, exactly. So we're actually combining the NFC technology, which is common to other Toys to Life games, with a weight sensor, a load cell. And we're taking a real-time feed of data from the tower and using that as one of the key ways of tracking what's going on in the real world. So the first way we do that is when you scan an object, the tower is then looking for the weight of that object to have been added to it. That's how we know you've stacked it. And then if you knock the tower over, then you've got to get all that weight back on before the time runs out. So yeah, we're using that weight data in a bunch of interesting ways to create the game experience.
How precise is that for the weight? Because I'm wondering if I could just cheat with this and just put my hand on it and hold everything together in place and pretend that it's perfectly balanced.
Well, so there's a couple of answers to that. Firstly, the weight data is really accurate.
Okay.
And it's also very low latency. So we get a very rapid transfer of data from the state of the tower to the game. And that's a result of a ton of hard work that Chris, our lead engineer, has put in on the electronics, loads of iterations to kind of get that working really well. The other thing is, it's definitely a game where cheating is possible. There are ways of cheating the game. But our view has been, as a small independent studio, that if we get to the point where people are cheating our game enough that it's a problem, we're doing awesome. Because that means people care about this game enough to want to figure out how to cheat it. And if we get to the point where there's like an esports scandal over the fact that you can people have been substituting different weighted pieces in, and that suggests that we'll have done a bunch of things right, and we'll probably have some way of figuring out how to deal with that when the time comes.
Sure.
I was gonna say, when I was watching all the videos, when I see the character scanned in and how fast it went in, I was like, different times I'm like, okay, they must have edited it. And I watched more and more videos. I'm like, man, it scans it in so fast. It's really impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been, I'm really lucky. I have an amazing, talented team of very creative and very smart people. I think one of the really fun things about this project is that everybody's kind of super into each other's disciplines. So Chris is a great engineer. He's also a pretty cool game designer. George, who's our lead programmer, also loves to muck around with Arduino and hardware. Yeah, there's lots of like shared interests and skills in the team, and that's what's really contributing to being able to work together in this kind of really fun and collaborative way to try to make something creative.
Because I assume, and I don't think this is speaking too much. I assume it's a Bluetooth base. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah. So like Bluetooth sometimes is like this great, awesome idea, but like every time I have Bluetooth anything, like I sit there and wait for it to connect, or it doesn't, all these different issues with it. But that's why I was like, when I first I was like, oh, it's Bluetooth. But watching all the videos, I'm like, man, it works great.
Thank you. Yeah, I can take absolutely no credit for that.
Yeah.
But that's not going to stop me. So you're right. I did a great job with all that Bluetooth stuff. Yeah,
Right.
so much.
Well, in the Toy to Life genre, that's one thing that some people kind of gripe about is when you place a figure on the pad that is plugged into, the hardware. There is that couple seconds that it takes for the game to recognize what figure you're placing on. And, with Skylanders, they kind of put like a little fun little video to hide the fact that the game is trying to figure out what's going on. So it's really encouraging to see something like this be so impressively fast compared to these other big game developers that have been doing this for years that still kind of haven't figured out how to make that process a little bit speedier,
Right, that's going straight on the homepage of the Kickstarter campaign. This technology is better than Activision. The Toys for Games podcast.
Yeah, you could quote us on that for sure.
Yeah, that's great. I wonder if part of aside from having an awesome team, I wonder if part of the reason for that is that we're able to build on, newer and maybe slightly more modern standards for connectivity. Bluetooth is a technology and a standard which is continuously evolving, and we're using, the kind of latest set of standards with our game. Sure. But yeah, it's definitely, I think one of the things that we really wanted to develop on in this game is, Toys to Life games are awesome, but I'm often left with the feeling that I'm playing a really cool video game with a switch, a kind of on-off, like, are you or are you not putting the character on the platform? And if so, I can play as that character in the game. Right. And, I think what we've tried to do with our technology is have this really live, dynamic relationship between like an interesting real-world game and an interesting digital game. And excuse me, try to make those systems like interlinked. So roughly speaking, all of the pieces that are the most powerful in the game from a digital perspective in terms of having the strongest effect on building the most fabulous beasts and the most awesome world are the ones that it's hardest to stack in the tower. So you're having to make these evaluations as a group of players between how are we going to build this tower so it doesn't fall down? What are we going to do next? How are we going to keep it going up? With what do I want to add to the tower to have the strongest effect right now? And that's really interesting. Like I like that kind of dynamic that we found. It's nice to be kind of seeing these things as one sort of schmooshy continuum. I think one of the things that we were really struck by when we were playtesting this game with kids in particular is, I think as adults, we still have this kind of mental hang up on like physical and digital being different from one another. Whereas you kind of see the way kids play with Skylanders toys, and it's just all one continuous physical, digital, imaginative world where they're just having fun and don't really make those boundaries very clear. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like I'm really excited about that, dynamic that we've been able to get into the game.
So you keep talking about working with other people. Is this strictly a co-op game, or is there any sort of competitive against other players type of aspect to it?
We started out designing a 2-player competitive game. So the first prototype we built was a quite involved, highly strategic 2-player battling game it was kind of Hearthstone meets Jenga kind of combo. Um, and it was a ton of fun in lots of ways. But the complexity of taking on all of this new information of having pieces and a digital game and those things being linked in this interesting way, plus a ton of really quite complex rules about resource management and predators and battling and the way combat resolved and all this kind of stuff, was just, like, I think there's a kind of rule, a very wise person once said, your game is always too hard and always too complicated, and you can always look at ways of refining it to make it simpler and easier, and that will be a good thing. So we took some feedback, we looked at that version, and we wanted to come up with something that right off the bat could be really approachable and a really like fun social experience. So the first mode in the game that is the one we're committed to shipping if we fund our Kickstarter, is this cooperative game. Having said that, we have a ton of plans, and we've already announced and trailed some of those in stretch goals that hopefully we'll get to for other game modes. And the first one of those on the line is a versus mode, a game in which you will be able to indulge both your pleasure in stacking beautiful towers and your desire to crush your enemies beneath your godly heel.
Awesome.
I love that. So I'm curious about when you're playing the game itself. Obviously, you're trying to build this tower with these objects and these creatures, and that's getting scanned into the digital version of the game. How do you complete the game or finish the game? What's the end goal each time that you play?
Sure. So it's a score attack game. You're like the way scoring works is all the creatures in your world have a fabulousness score, and through different strategies and different ways of playing, you can both increase the number of beasts in your world and increase how fabulous they are. At the end of each turn, we add up all the points of the creatures in your world and we add that to your score. So very simply, the more beasts you have, the more fabulous they are, and the longer you can keep them alive, the higher that score is going to get. Right now, in the kind of current build of the game, if you manage to stack all 24 pieces, and so every piece that you have in a tower, you also get a double your points bonus at the end. Okay. The kind of replay, so the goal of the game, if you like, is to use all of your pieces in the tower, and then the deeper goal beyond that is to use them all in a way which produces the highest score. So you can, that generates a lot of replay value. There's also about 160 different fabulous beasts to discover in the game, partly discovered through crossing and migrating and different kinds of things that you can do, and partly through evolving the beasts. When they get to a certain level, they transform into a different beast, slightly Pokemon-esque kind of thing.
You just made a lot of people smile with that comment. I'll guarantee that.
Yeah. So there's this is stuff, it's I guess it's interesting when you're making a physical digital game like this, that all the physical elements, the pieces and the hardware is pretty much in its finished form, because that stuff, we have to ship that out to our manufacturing partner, and we have to get making that basically, if we fund, as soon as the Kickstarter ends, that stuff starts to happen.
Right.
But the digital game is the thing that we'll be working on through, constantly through the rest of the year and beyond. It's one of the super exciting things about being a physical digital studio, pushing to mobile devices, smartphones and tablets. Shipping an update is, just push another build to Google Play and the App Store. We can update the game with new features, new game modes, expansions. All those things, become stuff that we can, dynamically add, and part of that, will be in dialogue with players. So where we are with the digital game right now is some of those features are still going to go in. There's a ton of things that we're thinking about. So one of the things that we really want to put in is streak scoring. So like a increased levels of difficulty. If you are able to build a complete tower, then the next time it's like tower +1. There are new beasts in that world to discover. There are new challenges. we start to tighten up some of the difficulty levels in the game, and to give you more things to respond to and master.
Sure. Is the digital game, is there any way to play that without the physical pieces? Is there a standalone digital version of any sort, or is that strictly tied to the physical game?
So, the app will ship with some kind of functional and entertaining version of the game. We are still figuring out exactly what that's going to be, because it's one of the tricky things about having such a closely intertwined set of game systems is neither one of them works perfectly on their own if you kind of take the other one out. It's like, the sort of, it doesn't quite stand up without its counterpart. But what we're currently thinking about, I mean, this is super speculative, but we're working with a really wonderful musician called Disaster Piece. So I don't know if you guys remember an indie video game from a couple of years ago called Fez.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So he created the soundtrack for Fez, which is one of my all-time favorite video game soundtracks. And he was like the person we so wanted to work with on this project. And he said yes, which was super exciting. So he has some really exciting ideas about how the soundtrack will work in the game, that it will kind of build out of like every creature will have its own like little set of grooves associated with it. And as you build the different creatures into the world and combine them and evolve them, so that kind of landscape of music might kind of evolve with it. And that feels to me like the kind of thing that might make a really nice introduction to the game as a purely digital standalone thing. So if you download the app, it's free, and there's like this kind of creature creating music building toy that you can play with, and that's maybe a way into kind of seeing what's fun about the game.
Sure. It's iOS and Android.
Of course.
Okay.
We made sure we built a kind of development pipeline that made sure we could ship to both of those platforms.
Perfect. So this game's been in development for a while. You've probably stacked these things more times than you could count. But I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I'm going to say, if you could ballpark how many different towers you've made, could you even get close?
I mean, we're well into four figures. We're definitely like, I would, let me see. Okay. I'm gonna try and we're talking November 2014 so we're talking about like 16 months, and I would say, I would say like somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 towers, something like that. Like I would say that's probably the sort of region that we would be talking about.
Sure.
Maybe more actually, like because we've done a ton of days I've done days at conferences where I've built like 100 in a day.
Right.
Because that's that kind of environment where you're kind of helping people out and doing stuff. Yeah, but let's say a couple of thousand. That's my guess.
Do you consider yourself just a master at stacking these things now at this point?
Like there was a really fun when we were shooting the Kickstarter video. There's a sequence in the Kickstarter video which is like a stop motion tower that then collapses. And it was a sequence we just decided to do at the last minute, and we were shooting in someone's apartment, and we didn't have much time left, and we just let's do this, and it was a real one take thing, and we had to sort of put another piece on, film it, put another piece on, and I also was wanting to make a quite cool looking tower because I'm like this is a Kickstarter video, this is going to be a thing that a bunch of people are going to see, I want to get this right. And it was like a hilariously high level of stress. And that was only like a month and a half ago, I guess we shot that. I had so much fun building that tower, and I did so many really crazy things that I should not have done. But it all came off, and then we knocked it over, and we got the whole thing down. So yeah, I guess we've really tried to design these pieces in a way that rewards a lot of repeated play. So somebody said to me this fun thing, which is like, if Lego is lawful good, like in the kind of D&D character classes, then your pieces are chaotic evil. They don't go together in any kind of obvious way, and you think that you know how to stack something, and then you realize that it's a nightmare, and you have no idea how to recover, and then you realize you can do this other piece here, and that's going to work out. And I like something that a bunch of people think when they first look at the game is, oh, it's a puzzle. Like, there's a right way of stacking these pieces. But the way the economy of the game works and the way that the strategy works, it never turns out the same way. And you're always reacting to things that are going on in the world and needing to put another piece in that you weren't quite expecting. And that does mean that there's a ton of depth there and replayability. That I don't think we've got to the bottom of that yet.
Right.
I mean, I should say, like, in terms of being a master, like, I'm wholly expecting, and my dream actually is that, like, in a year's time, we'll see this video from some kid in, like, South Korea or in Iowa or wherever, and they'll put some video up on YouTube, and we'll be like, how on earth did they build a tower like that? Like we just have no idea how they built that thing. And I love games that have that kind of very high potential for skill and flair and showing off. And yeah, like we're super hopeful that people can use our game to get really skillful and show off in that way.
Yeah, we're joking about this being an esport someday. I mean, this is dangerously close already, of just like the skill of stacking. There's probably going to be a scandal, and I'm sure your PR department's gonna love dealing with that.
I if it is an esport, I really hope that we have some WWF style, like, trash talking. I want costumes. I love esports, and I think that it's an incredible thing that's just exploded. I do think, like, as somebody who is, elderly, and as in, kind of out of my teens, like, a lot of the games that are super popular in esport terms are games that I really struggle to follow, as an experience. And I know that that's cool because they're not really for me, but there's something that's interesting about Fabulous Beasts, that it is super spectatable. It's a very fun game to watch other people play. And yeah, like, the idea that might translate one day into some kind of fun competitive thing, that would be awesome. I mean, I think, the first thing for that is just, engaging with, great folks like yourselves, YouTube content creators, to get the game into a bunch of people's hands so that they can have fun with it and, hopefully share some cool video.
Yeah, one of the more interesting parts of it all too, that makes me most excited, I think could make a great, like, esports element-esque with it too, is that if the tower, like, partially knocks over, that's not the end of the game, right? Because there's like a timer, I guess, it starts, and you have a chance to rebuild it somewhat. So in case you do
that's right.
push too heavy on one side, like that part makes me, like, even more excited for it. Like, because it's like, it makes Jenga even more extreme, because it's like, because different times when it partially falls over, like that couple of seconds got to be so exhilarating.
Yeah, it was a mechanic we really searched for. So in early builds of the game, we had this kind of thing that we were trying to make a difference between a major and a minor collapse. So it was kind of this calculation that we were doing, that if, like, a certain percentage of the weight of the tower remained after something had fallen off, then you would keep going, and if not, then the game would end. But it didn't feel right, because people didn't understand which one of the things they caused, and it didn't seem like it really worked out. So this rebuilding mechanic, where you have a few seconds to get everything back on, is a kind of way of self-regulating that, because if you knock one piece over, you can get that back on, that's no problem. But if you knock 5 pieces off, then you are going to really have to hustle to get those back on. And if you knock 20 pieces over, then it's fun. You see this kind of thing where people start to act like fielders, in a ball game or something, where everyone's kind of waiting for the tower to fall down and they're kind of guarding it and trying to kind of, be aware. And I have seen a few games where like the whole tower is gone and someone's just caught it and like righted the entire thing and kind of got it back up to vertical. That stuff is super fun.
Yeah, because there's a game, I don't know if you know about it, there's a tabletop game called Escape, like the Curse of the Temple, I think it's called. And it's like that where you go to different rooms and like a timer goes off and you have to like make it back to a certain room. And I remember it's like 30 seconds. The whole game's worth it for like those 30 seconds just because like everybody's screaming and yelling and stuff. And it's super fun. So it's one of those like kind of, now I'm kind of hoping that somebody does push it over a little bit because like, again, it's just fun to see someone try to rebuild it in like 5 seconds, however long it is. It'll be good fun.
Yeah, timers are the best, aren't they? Like everyone, like it's amazing how many brain cells a human can lose once a countdown starts occurring. There's one of the pieces in the game called the Miracle of Haste. So if you play that piece, you get this ×2 bonus, but it means you get a time limit introduced into each turn, and that time limit is generated it's picked from a pool of about 10 different options. And sometimes that might be like 30 seconds, but sometimes you might only have 10 seconds. And the best laid plans of mice and gods go deeply awry once that countdown starts to tick into the last 5 seconds, and you see towers, very strange towers, start getting built.
That's awesome. My favorite personally aspect of this game, from what I've seen so far, is the art design itself. The beasts and everything, they look like papercraft. Was that kind of the inspiration for the art style that you went with, or did that just kind of fall into place as you were designing it?
Yeah, I definitely think papercraft was one of our so the two guys who are really responsible for that are Lyle, who does all of our digital art and animation and like user interface design, and Tim, who does all of our product design, so all of the pieces and the platform. And I think sort of papercraft is one inspiration, like low poly art is another. So looking at kind of like, I think that sort of low poly is starting to be an art style that indie games are exploring, and some really gorgeous games that come out with that kind of Sega Mega Drive kind of aesthetic. And it was kind of a combination of those two things. And then I think it's just kind of pushed on into being its own thing now. I think it's sort of something kind of original. And yeah, like Tim with the pieces has done this amazing job of combining three really hard things to kind of reconcile against one another. So the first is making pieces that are gorgeous to look at and collectible and like really kind of resonate and things you want to hold and kind of hang on to. Making pieces that are interesting to stack. So like thinking about how pieces, stack in different axes. So, like Shark, for example, if you like lay her on her belly, that's like a rounded surface and she's quite wobbly. But if you stack her vertically on her nose, then there are two parallel faces there that mean that she's more of a stable piece to build in a tower. And then the last thing, of course, is manufacturability. We have to be able to manufacture this game at a price which is reasonable, and we have to hopefully, with luck and a following wind, make a bunch of them. So that's another, like 3D printing is a great technology for prototyping and testing these things, but you can only make ones of a thing really with a 3D printer. So when you need to make a bunch of them, then you have to, understand how all of that works. So it's been a real evolution to get all of those three elements in balance.
So you have 24 pieces created, ready to go. How many more ideas are on the giant whiteboard of creatures and pieces that, in a perfect world, that you would love to add to this game?
Oh man, it a lot.
How many animals are there?
Well, there are some badass creatures and game mechanics in nature. Did you know that a lot of spiders, weave a little kind of cocoon, like a sort of web around themselves with a parachute. They float up on thermals, They then freeze when they get to the atmosphere, like until it's high enough that it's cold enough. They then get blown along by winds until they descend, and then they unfreeze, and then they kind of start reproducing in some whole other new place. So they're like cryogenically frozen space travelers. Like, who knew?
Right.
And like that. And so all of those things are so inspiring, and they're so interesting to think about from the perspective of our game, because you think about that from the piece design, like how would a spider piece look? How would it stack? What would you sort of make interesting about it? And then you think about what kind of game mechanics and like special powers that piece could have. There's also a kind of mythological kind of creation myth dimension to the story about, your gods you're creating together and how that all works. So there's all kinds of interesting ideas from folk tales and creation myths that we can kind of weave in alongside all of that. So like, plushy jellyfish, though, I am going to say that's the thing that I'm currently like that's my crazy idea on the whiteboard that everyone's like, Alex, what are you talking about? But like, hear me out, okay? Hear me out. So kind of like beanbaggy on the underside, so that you could kind of nestle it on another surface and kind of flatten it out, with some sort of tendrils hanging down and shiny on the top. So like a little bit tricky, like a little bit of a sort of slippery surface that you'd have to be very careful how you stack things on top of it. Like stackable plush jellyfish. I'm telling you now, it's going to be a big expansion for us one day. So yeah, it's I mean, it's one of the things. I mean, I've really set out with this game and this team. We're all in this for the long haul. We're all super committed to this project, and we really talk about wanting to still be making this game in 5 years, 10 years. You look at a game like Magic the Gathering. That team at Wizards of the Coast have just done an incredible job of keeping it fresh, coming back to it every year, building this sort of lore and narrative around that world. And, I think that's an amazing way to approach game making, like organically evolving a world, a kind of creative environment with a really rich experience in it. So yeah, like we hope that, it has that kind of potential with Fabulous Beasts to go in those kinds of directions.
Are you even able to watch nature documentaries or go to the zoo or outside without constantly thinking about creating these creatures?
That gives me an idea.
Can I bring that sketch pad?
Well, it's more the more you look, the more these things are everywhere. Like we found that there's an entire subreddit for weird Photoshop hybrids of different creatures.
What?
Yeah. It's like that was a rabbit hole we all fell down for 24 hours. No, very, very creative. My favorite is the chimpanzee, which is half chimp, half pansy. That's a really extraordinary image that will stay with me for a very long time. So like, yeah, no, I think, I mean, I guess the thing about the nature angle is it's important to say we're not making a kind of nature game like explicitly. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there is an awesome game to be made around nature, and those mechanics are kind of in the theme and the kind of way the game works. But this is also something pretty loose, like it's a kind of cartoony, creative world where like slightly twisted and odd things happen, and where there isn't necessarily a kind of perfect ecosystem that kind of David Attenborough would recognize. So like I think that all these natural ideas are super fun, and one of the things that kind of feeds into the creative world that the game happens in.
Sure. So aside from the jellyfish, which isn't a reality yet, what would you say is your absolute just favorite creature that you have in this game so far, that you either like playing with, or the look of it, or whatever you want to base it off of?
I mean, it's like we've got our kind of 6 core creatures, and like it'd be a bit like saying which of your children you love the most.
That's easy.
The one that didn't wake up when I spoke really loudly at the start of the podcast. I mean, I have a soft spot for Bear. He's a particular favorite of mine. He's a very interesting piece to stack. He has all kinds of hidden like affordances. He's a very interesting piece strategically because he seems like a very obvious piece to start your tower with, and that's actually like straight up the worst. Well, not the worst thing you can do, because there are many more terrible things. But it's a classic kind of second time player strategy. And then they're like, oh no, that totally doesn't work. Okay, I should try something different. And so like seeing that. Also, he has quite a fully like developed character in my head. We've been traveling around the world, like demoing the game and taking it to different places. We've been taking the pieces with us, and like giving them little Instagram diaries, So we kind of I like that. Bear really likes brunch, so he likes to kind of get his nose into some eggs and some coffee, and there's like stuff like that, which is completely got nothing to do with the game, but just good fun.
But it also shows how much you and your team absolutely adore the product that you're creating. If you didn't have this connection to these fabulous beasts that you were making and building a game around, everything would kind of feel disingenuous. So I 100% appreciate the fact that you have like this entire backstory for Bear and how he likes brunch, and like that's amazing. I absolutely love that.
Well, thank you. I mean, I would say, like, I think, we're at a really exciting time for Toys to Life games. Like, I think that, if you page back 10 years, the indie game scene that we know and love now didn't really exist, because the tools and the kind of platforms and the publishing, networks, they weren't in place yet. Then suddenly, between Unity and the App Store and Steam, suddenly you have this explosion of creativity and interesting games being made. And I really believe that we're on the threshold of that kind of thing happening in Toys to Life games. There's just a ton of interesting sensors and different kinds of technologies that, you can use to make these games. We've added one sensor into the traditional, Toys to Life hardware setup and come up with a completely different game than anything that's out there. And, I think that, as well as thinking about the kind of possibilities with Fabulous Beasts, there are way more fun and interesting games out there. And my bet is that in a couple of years' time, you'll see a bunch of studios who are taking on the same kind of mix of hardware, software, and physical design that we're doing.
Yeah. I want to give you this warning now. If you're serious about entering the Toys to Life genre as we know it and evolving it, we here on this show, we have a bad tendency of leaking and breaking news. So if you're ready to go down that path and, be ready for us to possibly break some news for you unexpectedly, because we have a bad habit of it. So
that's good to know. Well, we'll make sure we give you guys all the juicy scoops.
Right.
Plushy jellyfish. You heard it here first.
There we go. So before we let you go, I want to give you a chance to kind of explain the Kickstarter, where people could go to learn all about it, what you have to offer there, and explain the whole Kickstarter, just fundamental of
Sure.
it.
So Kickstarter is a funding platform for creators who are trying to bring new projects into the world. It's a project that, so it's an environment where you don't get any of your funding unless you reach your funding target. So like I said, we're about $140,000 into a roughly $200,000 campaign. I'm converting from pounds on the fly, so apologies for my numbers are out. So we're about 2/3 of the way, and we're making really good headway towards that. If you back the project, you can choose to back at a bunch of different reward levels. So basically, this is a pledge that helps us fund the production of the game, taking our fully working prototype and being able to put it into full-scale manufacturing and production. So those rewards start from £1, a couple of bucks. But for £29, that's about $42. You can get just the beasts, so the sort of 6 beast artifacts from the core game for you to stack and have fun with and display. The first kind of edition of the game ships for, retails at $85. So that's the 24 artifacts, the electronic sensing platform, the app download, plus any unlocked stretch goals that we reach during the campaign, which if we overfund, then we'll start to add in some cool extra pieces and items and features, some of which will be exclusive to Kickstarter. And then it kind of goes up from there. So there's, enhanced editions with rare and exclusive pieces and playmats. There's a collector's edition, which comes with a ton of beautiful art materials related to the game. And if you have a wealthy uncle who really loves games in your life, then there's the handmade edition, which will be hand cast in our studio by our team. Every single one of those is unique. It'll be created slightly differently from the others and signed and numbered by us. So yeah, there's a ton of different rewards to look at if you want to. Find the campaign. Kickstarter Fabulous Beasts will work for you in any search engine, or the short URL kck.st/ capital F Fab, capital B Beasts. So kck.st/ Fab Beasts with a capital F and B. Any of those things will get you there.
Yeah, we'll definitely be sure to include links and stuff in the show notes to give people an opportunity to go check that out. So it sounds like if people want the jellyfish, you're not looking to just meet the goal, but exceed the goal. So people out there, let's make the jellyfish happen.
Yeah. Oh no, what have I done? Sure. That is possible. It's a possibility that we will get to that. It's slightly more likely that my team will throttle me. But if that doesn't happen, then the other thing that might happen is the jellyfish for sure.
Sure. Also, one last thing, I'll give you a quick pitch here. I live in the Pacific Northwest. Mm-hmm. Sasquatch is a very important creature in this area, especially in the Portland area. If you're ever looking for inspiration or ideas, I think the Sasquatch might fit well with the Fabulous Beasts game itself, but I'm not the professional here.
The thing is, Bear would be so jealous of Sasquatch.
I think they'd be friends.
Yeah, no, it's just like a slightly cooler, rarer version of him, and I don't know how he'd cope with that. But if we can work that out, if we can arrange for some kind of relationship counseling, then for sure.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
It's a great pleasure.
Where can people follow you and Fabulous Beasts on Twitter and stuff to get the updates and what's going on?
Yeah. So again, that's at Fab Beasts for all of the Twitter news, and we're on Facebook. We put a ton of stuff out on Vine. So Vine is a really great way for us to kind of communicate about the game. So if you're into that stuff, then Fabulous Beasts on Vine, Fabulous Beasts on Instagram, also good places to check us out. But yeah, Twitter at Fab Beasts, good place to start.
Perfect. And what was the end date of the Kickstarter?
So we are just over halfway. We finish on the 25th of February, around about lunchtime US time, so 10 p.m. in UK, so kind of 3 p.m. to midday in the US.
Perfect. Well, best of luck to you and your team. We wish you nothing but success. We can't wait for the jellyfish, and we can't wait to break exciting news for Fabulous Beasts as this game moves forward.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely.
See you, Alex.
Cheers now.
That was Alex Fleetwood, the studio head of Sensible Object, the creator of Fabulous Beasts. Again, I will include all the information that you will need in the show notes. Might even put up an article on the website as well to To kind of fully explain kind of what we all just talked about, and give everybody an opportunity to support them if they so choose, or at least you know, share the information with others that might be interested in supporting them.
And so if you like the concept but you don't have the money, I mean, absolutely, you can even share the video on Twitter or something like that. I mean, you can definitely still get the word out
Right.
and give your support without even have to be financial. But yeah, as big fans of Toys of Life that we are, we always like to see the genre move in different directions. And I think I can speak for both of us saying that we're both very excited about this project and idea and everything about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, since we started this podcast, you know, we've talked about what's going to be next for Toys Life. Like, will this bubble just completely pop? Will it evolve? What's going to happen? And this might be the first sign of kind of what to expect going forward. You know, and that's a good thing, because neither one of us want this genre to just, you know, die off in the ether and never hear from it again. We want to grow with what we love, and if this is what's next, then it's an exciting feature for everybody. But yeah, if you don't have, you know, the funds, if you're not interested in actually buying the game itself, just sharing the information, talking about it, getting the knowledge out there to people that may not know about it yet, who might be interested in it, that is the best possible way to help them out and spread the word. So we appreciate everybody for indulging us. We hope you enjoyed that interview, because it was a lot of fun. I've been enamored with this game since I first saw it, and so far, I mean, everybody, you know, since we've talked about it, people seem pretty excited about it. I know you've already jumped in on Kickstarter. I'm planning on doing so as well. So, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, I started it for a long time debating about which version I want to go for.
Yep.
Because they said the word collector and the handmade. I'm like, But I was like, I'll just go with the core.
Yeah, that's honestly my problem is, you know, it's not whether or not I want to support them, it's how crazy do I want to get with it, you know? Like, how deep, how much can I get away with for my own, you know, personal safety, because Val will eventually figure out what I chipped in, so tough decisions to be made, man, but let's get that jellyfish to happen. That sounds amazing.
I was gonna say I forgot to even ask him about it or say something about it, but I did see on Twitter today too that they have the first I won't say contract, but first agreement with a local retailer. I think it's a retailer in their area, but still, it's awesome that it could be hitting stores as well. So
right. That was something I spoke with them through email about before this interview. One of the questions I had, and we didn't get the chance to talk about it, was how they plan on distributing it. And they are going to lean heavily on online sales.
Right.
They're not expecting to be in big box retailers. But I'm assuming like the local game, you know, board game shops and whatnot will probably have some role in selling them. And, you know, game stores could order a couple games once they're in mass production and have them on shelves and sell them. And so it's not going to be something that, because I was curious about the Toys to Life aspect. Like, are we going to be able to go into Toys R Us and they're going to have their own section, you know, with the different beasts hanging up that you could buy, and as they expand the game and whatnot. And that's not what they're looking to do. Obviously, you know, they're at this point just trying to get the initial game funded, you know, so they're very focused on the first step, not, you know, 20 steps down the road. So who knows, you know, who knows how thing will happen and how much it'll grow. But definitely some great folks over there, and for taking the time to talk to us and kind of explain what the game is like. I can't wait to just check it out and play with it and stack that shark, man. Every time I see that shark, I'm like, there's no way that fits into any stacking scenario at all.
He's so awesome. But every time I see it, reminds me of those blue and white jelly, those gummy candy sharks.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm gonna have to keep a stack of those whenever I eat, because I'm just gonna be, or whenever I play, because I'm gonna be eating them the entire time.
That's gonna be fun. So we actually have another show to do, not another show, but the second half of this show.
What?
Recording this on Thursday actually worked out super well for us, because if we had done this yesterday, as we normally do, we would have spent the next hour just talking about how amazing the Easter variant Skylanders are, because that's pretty much all we'd have to talk about. That's it. Waiting a day, again, the Toys to Life gods smiled upon us, and they're like, hey, boys, you guys are doing a podcast today. Let's go ahead and drop some news for you to talk about, because you can't have a show without news.
I feel like it's the Toys for Games gods forgot to change their the date on their calendar, so they didn't realize we were swapping. They're like, oh shoot, we should move this to Friday. but yeah, it's good. Let's dive into it, man. We got a lot to cover.
We do have a lot to cover, and you have a Deadpool movie to get to, so we can't go too far, but we might. It's going to be interesting. Let's start with LEGO Dimensions. LEGO Dimensions, part of the podcast, is sponsored by our friend Brett at BrettMan79 on Twitter. You could find him running around various Disney locations winning medals like he does, because he's not only a champion of racing, but he's champion of our hearts. We love you, Brett.
Love you, Brett.
He also, he's just awesome. And I totally apologize, because he actually included a question for Alex in his email for us later, which we'll get to, and I totally forgot about it. Totally.
Jeez Louise.
I'm the worst.
You had one job. You literally had one job.
I mean, if that one job means putting together an entire show, then yes, I had one job. So sorry for dropping that ball. But Brett, it's not because I didn't like your question. It's just because I was thinking about the jellyfish. Let's be real. So we don't have any LEGO Dimensions news per se. Like, we're in a rut. We don't have anything coming out until March 15th. But we have LEGO news. You want to talk about LEGO news?
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, so today's the official date, the first day of, I think it's press day, per se, for Toy Fair. So we're getting a whole bunch of new stuff coming out. So we did get some new LEGO sets announced. But one of the other things that's interesting, again, for this LEGO Star Wars coming back in, is that we're getting a new TV show.
Yeah.
So, the LEGO, the Freemaker Adventures.
Right.
Which is interesting. So it looks like it's set in the original trilogy-ish area, because it has, like, Darth Vader and stuff in
I think it's between the prequel and the original trilogy, from what I understand.
So are they calling this canon? Like Lego-ish canon?
Maybe. It's hard to say, like they scrapped everything else, before. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think they explained. I don't think people that are watching it are really going to care much, because
I'm going to care.
Are you really?
No.
It's LEGO Star Wars TV show on Disney XD. Like, just enjoy it.
Right.
There's gonna be sausage jokes. We know it's coming.
It's funny, I just pulled up Reddit now. I'm like, I went to the comments on the official announcement page. First thing, but is it canon? I'm like, yes. There you go, internet. You're the best.
It's like they know what you're thinking. The more that Disney works with Lego, especially with the Star Wars franchise, and we saw the Marvel franchise, you have to think that there are at least discussions happening or that have been made regarding LEGO Dimensions, right?
Yep, I would say so.
Like, that can't just be completely off the table. Like, somebody is pushing really hard for this marriage to happen.
And there was, I mean, way back when too, before even the game even came out, I think, or soon after the game came out, there was somebody saying that somebody from like one of those famous Lego leakers who just randomly just drops bombs different times, said that they were already going to say it's coming this year, so they can keep PRing and saying that they're not talking about it. But it makes way too much sense for Disney. It makes way too much sense. Again, Disney Infinity is part of that small part of it, but again, they care about Disney Infinity brand, sure, but they care about money just as much, so it's gonna. And again, I really don't think. I mean, if you buy a Lego Star Wars character, it's not like you're not. You're gonna choose that over getting Disney. I just don't think that's a large percentage of people, it's going to buy one over the other, and if they were going to buy, like, buying a Lego Star Wars one does not correlate to a loss of sale on the Disney Infinity side.
Right. And especially at this point, like Disney Infinity 3.0 was the big Star Wars game. Like, going forward, we're going to see more Star Wars content, but this game is already out, and the major players of the Star Wars universe are already included in that. So
we got Lego Darth Vader. Who gives a rip?
Yeah, like, you still want the Darth Vader with a light up, lightsaber. Like, yeah, that nobody, like you said, nobody is sitting there thinking, well, do I want Lego Dimensions or do I want Lego or Disney Infinity based on the Star Wars characters? Like, you want them both, or you're not a fan of the Lego games, so you're going to go Disney Infinity, or you only play Lego games, so you're going to go that route.
There's definitely going to be people who do choose one over the other, like, at some point for whatever reason. But I don't think it's like millions and millions of dollars in lost sales.
Right.
Like, I think if anything, it just boosts their own thing.
But that choice isn't happening because one franchise is in both games.
Right.
There's other factors that play into it, and the Star Wars brand itself is bigger than the Disney Infinity brand. I'm fairly confident in saying that. You could quote me on that. As much as we all love Disney Infinity, like, the Star Wars brand itself is bigger than Disney Infinity. So let it, expand and grow its wings and fly away. Not, maybe not too far. Keep it near the nest, but let it soar around and look for grubs and do its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, they said that. I mean, the Star Wars acquisition this previous quarter was the best quarter in Disney history. So it's it's a moneymaker.
Yeah, and Disney loves money. So I wonder if maybe Disney Infinity 3.0 having Star Wars prevented Star Wars from being in Lego Dimensions, right out the gate. But there was plans maybe all along to kind of go this route once Disney Infinity is established with Star Wars,
Right.
So, who knows? I would love to be a fly on the wall in those board meetings. Love to hear those discussions. But, the more and more stuff that Lego does with Star Wars is a good thing. And you gotta just think positively and hope for the best here. So,
Yep.
Anything else Lego-wise?
Nope.
March 15th, come on.
Yep, we're getting some more information about the Lego Star Wars game, too. But I haven't followed much into it. But they showed a little bit of rough gameplay. But, I mean, it still looks exactly just like a Lego game. But
yeah, spoiler, it looks like a Lego game.
Yeah.
And plays like a Lego game. March 15th, Midway Arcade level pack and some others, and man, just make it happen. Make it happen. Come on, fast forward time travel.
Hope they do that, like, copy of Disney and have an ultimate unlock if you get everything, and like you do get like a lightsaber somewhere. It's like, what?
Oh, people would lose their minds. That would be so good. For some reason, I was randomly browsing upcoming releases for Lego Dimensions, and the fifth and final wave in May 10th. One of the guys is Lloyd from Ninjago.
Yep.
Now, I knew that, but I don't recall ever seeing him. He looks sweet.
Yeah, isn't he awesome?
Yeah, all gold and awesome looking. Man, I was impressed. I was like, has this character always been around? Did he just get announced? Because I don't remember this at all.
Did it just make him cooler because he's Ninjago, or?
In my head, it was just like another Ninjago character, something boring and plain and regular. And it's like, nope, this guy's going to be all gold. Because why not? So, yeah. Lego Dimensions. Your Lego Dimensions part of the podcast. Moving on to Amiibo. Gotta talk about Amiibo.
Absolutely.
Amiibo, part of the podcast, is sponsored by our friend over on Twitter at Amiibo Amigo. That's 2 I's for Amiibo, 1 I for Amigo. You can find them at amiiboamigo.com. and then Amiibo Amigo on Instagram. And then he has a really cool YouTube channel, 8-Bit CR. Go over there, check him out. If you are fluent in Spanish, you're going to love the videos. If you're not fluent in Spanish, you're probably still going to like him because he's super charismatic, makes great videos. His photography is just out of this world. Incredible. Lots of great things that he's doing. And he just absolutely loves Amiibo so much. And it shows with everything that he does. But Jason, what's going on in the world of Amiibo?
Yeah, so we got a couple of things. First thing is, and you might want to take over this part because I haven't followed it too closely, but there's been some reason backlash about the Wolf Link Amiibo, I guess, and people are upset about like the way it looks and stuff. And yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it one bit.
Yeah, people are upset because there's been unboxing videos, and game reviewers have of course gotten the Amiibo along with their copies of Twilight Princess HD, and people are super salty about the fact that Midna seems to be lacking paint. People are complaining that in the press shots for the Wolf Link Amiibo, her helmet that she wears appears to have like texture and is painted a specific color. It's lighting. There are press shots. They're trying to make the Amiibo look as good as possible and professional quality photos. People are complaining that now that they have seen them in hand with people, that they're just flat gray, that they forgot to put paint on, or that they're cutting corners with the paint jobs. And I'm looking at it and it's just like it's different lighting. Like, Nintendo didn't purposely make an Amiibo look better for a press shot and then create lesser quality Amiibo to distribute.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just stop painting them because it was cheaper or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, press shots on everything always look better, no matter what, because it's rendered on a computer. But obviously, real life's always going to look different. But again, if you look at that thing, if that thing was, I've said it before, if that thing was on its shelf by itself and didn't do Amiibo thing or anything like that, it'd be like $20, no doubt.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Every time you order food from a restaurant or fast food, like, your food does not ever look like the pictures that are on those menu boards. Ever. You know why? Because they are professionally taken and molded to make the product look as best as possible. They're not misrepresenting the product. There's just an expectation that can never be reached of perfection when people are actually crafting these things by hand, and
right.
in mass quantities. It just doesn't happen. The other saltiness is that now there's this big uproar that there is content that's locked behind the Amiibo.
Yep.
And people are super upset about that. Like,
Yeah.
It comes with this game. It's a re-release of a game. It's a remake, an HD, extra shine, extra polish type of, they didn't change anything about the game really. They just made it look prettier, made it run better, and they created a brand new dungeon that can only be unlocked with this Amiibo. It has nothing to do with the story of the game. The game that everybody knows and loves that was on GameCube and the original Wii is still the same game. Nothing is affected by this extra dungeon other than it's just one extra place to go to for the sake of doing it because it's a fun thing to add. And people are losing their minds that it's locked behind having to have this Amiibo to do it. And I just don't get it. I do not understand, because the biggest complaint for people for a year was the fact that the Amiibo didn't do anything and they just sat there on a shelf. And now people are complaining that it unlocks content. And it's like,
yeah,
what do you want?
Yeah, we touched about this last podcast, and whatever the last time was, we talked about the Wolf Link Amiibo, but yeah, I think a lot of people are on like principle, because I can get it on principle as far as some people that like they're just afraid of what it means in the future, whether games are gonna be split up more. But again, that's what it is. That's kind of like what a Toys of Life thing is. So I can understand where people are coming from on it, but with this one, it's not. Like you said, it's not a big deal because it's an HD remake, and it would have been the same price whether it had that included or not. So
right. I mean, if this content was like important to the story of the game or prevented you from finishing the game unless you bought this or something crazy like that, then I could see the point, but it's just additional extra gameplay that you're rewarded with for buying the amiibo, not punished for, you're not being punished to not play it for not buying the amiibo because you won't even know about it. Don't read the internet, Simple. Like, the game's not going to say, oh, you can't advance this game any further unless you go buy an amiibo. And be like, no, this whatever is locked and it's not important. You could go and finish the rest of the game. So I just don't think Nintendo fans and amiibo fans, many of them are coming into the Toys to Life genre for the first time with amiibo, and now they're starting to see that these are physical purchases of DLC.
Right.
Like, that's what it is. If you buy a season pass for a game or whatever, if you download DLC, additional levels of anything, that's just added to the game. These are adding to the game, but you also get physical representations of what you're buying. And I don't think amiibo fans have really grasped that concept yet because they still see them as collectible figures, and they haven't had to use them. They've been able to use them if they wanted to and play around with them a little bit, but they haven't been forced to use them. So now that they're being forced to use them for something, there's this giant backlash, and it's like, oh, to be fair, this is what they should have done from the first place, but
welcome to the show.
Yeah. Welcome to the Toys to Life genre, folks. If you're mad about it, like, just don't buy it. It's that simple. Like, if you're that mad about this dungeon being locked behind the amiibo, A, don't buy the game. Yeah, B, borrow it from a friend. Just don't buy the amiibo. If you think the amiibo looks like junk, don't buy it. Like, that's a personal choice you're able to make. Then the argument is, well, I don't want to buy the amiibo because it looks stupid because it's flat gray, but I want to play the dungeon, but I can't play the dungeon because I have to buy the amiibo. And it's just, get out of here. Stop it. Just stop it.
Get out of here.
This is possibly the coolest looking amiibo that we've had so far. The design is fantastic. It's just going to stay on your shelf. Nobody's going to come over and judge you because it looks a little bit different than the press shots from a year ago. You're okay. Life will go on. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest, Jason.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's been weighing on me. People think that, we don't like amiibo. That's not true. We love amiibo. We give amiibo a hard time because I think that's fair and that's justified. And I think it's fair for us to be critical of amiibo and its uses and the stock and everything else that we've been able to talk about for a year. But when it comes down to it, like, we love amiibo, and we love the fact that amiibo are so successful because it has regenerated this genre. It's pushing Disney Infinity and Skylanders to do bigger and better things. It opened the door for Lego Dimensions to come in and be a fourth participant in this rat race that we have going on. This podcast would not be here if it wasn't for amiibo. Like, we love amiibo.
Plus, I mean, they're like that kid that, or your friend that always gives good reactions when you pick on them. So this is kind of that style.
Yeah. It's just fun. Amiibo are fun, and I think Nintendo's kind of self-aware of the whole thing. And again, it's only been a year. They're still trying to figure out what amiibo means to the company, to their games, to the bottom dollar, to consumers. They have no idea at this point. They're making decisions on the fly just to do what they think is best for business.
Right.
Let them breathe. Let them step back. Let them evaluate the whole situation, and everybody will be okay. I promise. Promise.
But yeah, on some good Amiibo news, two restocks per se to bring your attention to. One, Jigglypuff is out in GameStop now, right? Or is it Fish? Yeah, it's out now.
GameStop for sure. Yeah,
for sure. But it looks to be coming to every place. So if you missed Jigglypuff when it was up for the record-setting like 32 weeks or however, it wasn't that long, but it felt like that long. So it is back in store. I mean, again, it disappeared, and it's kind of if you're just kind of Amiibo game, it's kind of hard to get now. So it's back. So definitely pick on that.
That was the Amiibo that broke the streak. That
Yep.
Up until then, pre-orders lasted 5 seconds, and then Jigglypuff lasted for weeks on end. And it's like, wait a second.
I remember it went down for a day. People were like, it's finally over, like it's finished, and it was back the next day. Like, god dang it,
Just can't get rid of that little pig monster.
But yeah, and then in addition to that, Mega Yarn Yoshi is coming back to Toys R Us. So super excited about that. I'm hoping stocks really well because I totally would buy another one. But I don't want to buy another one if it's gonna be a hard stock for people. But hey, listen, man, get their own time. But yeah, so excited about that. So I know a lot of people are in the community also are missing it. So it'll be good to get another chance to pick up a Mega Yarn Yoshi. And then finally, the other big news that was exciting this week is Pokken Tournaments confirmed on their official Nintendo products page. They'll be compatible with all Amiibo accessories, not figures. I love that, accessories, unlocking in-game items. So I mean that it seems to be more than just figures to me, but who knows? Right. But then it did say at the bottom compatible Amiibo cards, and it shows Shadow Mewtwo. Some people are reading into it more than that, but
no.
Yeah, but we keep saying there's got to be something Pokemon related, and that's why I tweet out the one time like just drop the hammer, Nintendo, just do it. Yeah. Stop toying with us, stop teasing us, just drop it and release in the Amiibo card set. I still like someone's idea, even said before about even if they just made all existing cards, which they couldn't do because the NFC chip makes them thicker. It would be cool if they were able to do that and just be able to even tap it, in that you were able to just unlock a coin or something stupid. You know what I mean? Right. It would just be fun to sign up on there. Unfortunately, they can't make those cards like I said NFC because it creates cheating quite aplenty, since it would change the width of your cards. So be able to identify what cards in your deck. But still hope they do something with the Amiibo cards though.
I wonder if because it says all, right?
Right.
I wonder if the Animal Crossing Amiibo cards are gonna do anything.
Yeah, I mean it says all Amiibo accessories, and I honestly can't speak enough of Nintendo's language if they call just figures accessories or figures and cards is what they call accessories. I honestly can't tell you the truth.
Right.
So
I mean if they said figures, you would think that they meant just figures. If they say accessories, then they're roping in cards and figures and plushies and sneakers and anything else that they decide to put the chips into and sell as Amiibo.
Right.
Man, I want some Amiibo shoes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that. That'd be slick.
But yeah, I mean Hyrule Warrior says tap any Amiibo figure once per day. So but obviously that wording was set before the Amiibo cards came around. So who knows? But accessories seems more than just card, or more than just figures to me. Yeah.
And of course, the Shadow Mewtwo card comes with the game if you pick it up on launch. And then I think they said that's it, right? Like that will be the only place to pick it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. I assume it's gonna be like a day one edition thing. It's gonna sticker on there, and I mean you can find day one edition games 2 years later. So just depends how the store stocked their shelves. So they push existing products to the back that thing can show up later. So definitely pre-order it to guarantee it, but you might still get lucky later.
Definitely. Cool. Anything else with Amiibo?
Nope.
Smile, Amiibo collectors. Just smile.
Have fun.
Stop being salty. Next up, Disney Infinity.
Yes.
We're going there. We're going there. Disney Infinity part of the podcast, of course, is sponsored by our first friend over in the UK, James Holian. You can find him on Twitter at Infinity Museum. James has been a friend since day one of our show. I think he followed you here from Infinity Inquirer, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So James has been with us through thick and thin, and we appreciate him every single time we do this podcast. James, hello. Shout out to James.
Hi,
and
James.
His glow-in-the-dark Buzz Lightyear silent protest that he will never give up on. Fantastic. I woke up this morning, Jason.
Yep.
Thinking to myself, man, we just do not have anything to talk about with Disney Infinity. There's nothing going on. Everything that we know about is already out there in the ether. They still don't want to talk about the Marvel figures that we know about, even though Civil War trailers are showing all of the characters and whatever. They want to dance around the price drop of the playset, and okay, that's cool. But I was like, we don't have Disney Infinity news to talk about. Then I went to Twitter, and I said to myself, well, scratch that, because we do have news to talk about. What in the world happened?
Yeah, so woke up this morning, checked a couple of different places, off we go to work, and then open the doors and the phone start ringing, and then boom, this tweet comes in. I'm like, God dang it! And so I sit there and trying to get this article up quick and stuff, and it's it's a race to get it up there, but yeah, so a Disney Infinity publication, or not Disney publication, a magazine over in France that's like, I don't say it's not the D23 equivalent, but if you're a annual pass holder in France, the Disneyland Paris, you get this magazine. And the magazine says in French, I'm not even going to bother even trying to say the French version of it. But it talks about the different movies that are coming up for Disney. So it talks about Zootopia, which is funny. In France, apparently Zootopie.
Zootopolis.
Yeah, I know, but in French, it's Zootopie.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Zootopie, Zootopie. But yeah, so there's a section about Alice Through the Looking Glass, and at the end of the blurb of this short little paragraph, I didn't read the rest of it. It just basically says about who's in it, blah blah blah. It's like it's literally like 50 words long. It just says Alice Through the Looking Glass. It's coming to cinemas on June 1st, 2016. Find Alice, the Mad Hatter, and time in the video game Disney Infinity 3.0. All right then, so that confirms that. So again, it's
an officially licensed Disney magazine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even licensed, like official Disney magazine
from Disney themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, so someone is a guy who's over in France. He's actually been the source of a couple of different Disney Infinity leaks. Just because again, France apparently is a giant Wild Wild West over there. He tweeted in at John Medaki and Disney France and all those. He's like, hi, is this really true? It's in the Disneyland magazine. Disney Infinity France. Yup. Yes, it is. Fine. Disney Infinity 3.0, but there is no official announcement. Disney Infinity France. Official announcement will come. Looks like this magazine is well informed. And then they wrote back, okay, something that's something in French, but
right.
I just like, yup. They wrote, yes, it is, but
yeah.
And again, so this is funny, or I want to say even funny for two parts. This is what I wish our side would do, like admit it, like, oh yeah, official announcement will come, like, move on to it. But
right.
then a couple hours later, the LA office called and got those tweets deleted.
Somebody got fired. Yeah. It was an ugly situation.
Yeah, I know. But shout out to Disney Infinity France, you're doing it right. We love you over there. They're the ones that did the Kylo Ren one, if you remember that too. Where they said about, yeah, Kylo Ren's coming, and they're like, oh seriously? And then the two back, oh, just kidding. I was like, that was my favorite. Like it was within like 15 minutes, like, ah, just kidding. And
gotcha.
Yeah. They're like, we were mistaken. I forget what their backtrack was, but it was pretty funny. But yeah, so this was a popular pick for the playset with the third I would say third, the other place it is. I need to be clear, the playset has not been confirmed, but this would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I said before, I didn't think they were going to do a modern adaptation of a playset. Just I don't know, this isn't screen Disney Infinity playset to me,
right.
But again, so that there is some speculation maybe it's going to be the classic characters. If it was just Alice and Mad Hatter, then absolutely. But Time is a brand new character.
Mm-hmm.
So played by Sacha Baron Cohen, which also if I betted you 3 years ago it's time to take my money that Sacha Baron Cohen would ever be in a Disney Infinity game. But yeah, so it's definitely gonna be the modern. It's got to be. Maybe we'll get a Power Disc pack and you can do a costume change. Who knows? Sure. But I'd be curious to see what they do with it. Somebody said maybe they'll do both games with it, which would be kind of cool. Like pull a Lego game where you get both movies in there.
Kind of go back and forth between the classic world and
between the first and second movie, the first Alice.
Okay.
Like cover both. Sorry, both.
Gotcha.
Both modern movies, Tim Burton movies, I should
sure.
say. But yeah. So then there's speculation with some people are bummed, some people are bummed it's classic. But again, say it all the time. I mean, John Vignacchi got mad at my termination of it, but it's a marketing machine, so it's not, it's definitely going to be the modern. Shouldn't be shocked by it. Shouldn't really be disappointed by it just because, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But again, it's going to sell well with it. There's a lot of people who are into that franchise. I never really got into the movie, but who knows? Maybe we'll give it another shot. But the big question that I put up then was how the playset configuration is going to be, because I just feel like that'd be, again, it can't be that shocking because there's only 3 figures. So it's, is what it is. But it was kind of funny. Like, they're listening to us and we let you choose your own stuff, except for the next playset. We're back to 2. Like,
right.
So
I mean, if it's back to 2, I mean, you have to think it's going to be Alice and Time, because everybody will want the Mad Hatter.
Right.
Like you throw Mad Hatter and Alice in a playset and nobody's buying Time. Like,
Time's going to be the worst selling figure in history of Infinity.
It'll be like Horhex all over again. And they did this with Toy Story. They had Jessie and Buzz in a playset, and then they made Woody an individual packaged figure, knowing that Woody would be able to sell. But then, we're seeing a 1-figure playset for Marvel Battlegrounds, so maybe they put Time in with a playset piece, and you have to buy Alice and Mad Hatter separately.
If they did that, oh man, you better head for the freaking hills. Oh my gosh.
At this point, though, like, it could happen. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. A year ago, that's not even a choice. Like, no way that would ever happen. Now?
I want to make this like a bet somehow, but I can't. But like, I don't know. If Disney packages a playset just with Time itself, Disney, I will drive to LA, chuck water on their faces, and then drive home. I don't know, but
no, bad Disney,
bad. Send the Time back and be like, you forgot to package something else in here. So I don't really know, because you could see it. I could see it being a 1. I could see it being a 2. But yeah, again, I'd be shocked if Time's by him. I'd be shocked if Time's by himself. I'd be shocked if Time's the solo character either way. But it'll be curious to see how it goes.
And 2 things to point out here. We've seen tons of Alice in Wonderland content in Disney Infinity already. So it's not that big of a surprise to finally see figures. Also, like, if you're not a fan of the modern films, like, you're not a fan of how they look and whatever, everything's going to be stylized to look like Disney Infinity. Like, so even if they are based on the modern characters, it's still going to be super stylized in a way to where you probably won't even notice or care too much, that it's not the original looking characters,
Yeah, I mean, the Mad Hatter, it's going to be similar, but obviously Alice is looking last. They don't even have the blue dress much, and that's why I think people just want the blue dress on it.
Yeah.
But everything else, who knows? So maybe they'll mix them. Who knows? Then we'll get a mixture of combo of classic and modern. But
sure.
Who knows?
I just so the movie comes out in June, right?
That's June 1st. I actually never even looked at what let me see if I can find the U.S. release date is. May 27th.
Okay.
So it falls in that window that we kept saying that we thought it was going to be released in. So it makes sense if this is the playset. But if it's just a single release and we're getting a different playset, then by golly, let's bring it on.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Because
I mean, I could see arguments either way, especially with that publication there. You would think they would have said, relive the movie and the play. I mean, they had a chance to advertise it more than just saying the figures are coming.
Right.
So who knows? Who knows? Because I still think we're getting a lot more than this Disney Originals. So
yeah.
Very well possibility.
Man, I'm still banking on a Jungle Book playset. I think you put Mowgli and King Louie in a playset, and you have Baloo as a single figure. Done. just let it go.
Sorry. Yeah, let it go. Let it go.
You missed your cue, man.
I pre-bought my Broadway tickets for 2018.
For 2018.
For Frozen. Frozen's coming to Broadway.
In 2018?
Yeah.
And you already bought tickets?
No, it's just a joke, but...
Oh, I was going to say, like, I know you're a fan. I just didn't know that you would buy tickets 2 years in advance.
I would if I could, but... I absolutely would. And I forgot I bought them and buy another pair. Let's be honest.
Probably. Have you ever been to a Broadway show?
Oh, my, yeah. I've been 4 or 5.
Yeah, I guess when you live that close, it's a lot easier.
Oh, yeah, man. I need to start hitting up they have BuyGoes the last week of July, or January, I mean, where you can get 2 tickets for the price of 1, which is a real good deal.
Nice.
But, yeah, they can get pricey. I mean, I'll be blunt about it. When I went this time last year, was right when soon after Aladdin started, and I went up for Toy Fair, and it was my birthday weekend, and Vince couldn't come till like the next day. I don't know if you remember all this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like debating what I wanted to do, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself on my birthday and just, go watch a show. And I was going through, I was like, oh, I should go see Aladdin. And then the only time I go, there was like, there's like 6 tickets available, and they're all like the single seats different places. And I'm like looking at prices. I'm like, if I'm going to go, I might as well go hard. So I got like 10 rows from the front, dead center. It was great. But it was like, I think I paid $270 for the ticket or something. Wow. So it's pricey, but
sure.
The Friend Like Me, well worth price of admission. Oh my gosh.
Really?
Unbelievable. It got like a 10-minute round of applause. Like, not even exaggerating. So good.
That's fantastic. That's the beauty of like live shows, is that you're able to like appreciate what's going on as an audience.
Right.
Like, you can't give like a 10-minute ovation during a film, because then you're missing 10 minutes of the film. So
yeah. Gosh, it was so good.
Oh man. So anything else with Disney Infinity? I mean, Alice, like, that's exciting. We need official announcement would be great. Let us hype it up, Disney. Let us market it for you.
I mean, I knew this week we weren't getting announcements. Next week seems like a hot button thing. It could be happening, but it could very well just be like I watch them like announce just one of them. Like, oh yeah, here's Ant-Man. God dang it, Disney. Just
have we told you about Black Suit Spider-Man yet?
But the wheel will be hot soon. So.
Alrighty. Well, let's get into what we anticipated being the bulk of this show, which actually grew exponentially within an hour of starting to record. Skylanders Superchargers. Skylanders, of course, is sponsored by our friend Matt. You can find him on Twitter at SCLMatt. All of his fine work over at SkylandersCharacterList.com. Facebook.com/SkylandersCharacterList. I was actually going through and trying to rummage up some images of Skylander figures, and every time I click on one on Google image search,
it's always the site.
It's always from SkylandersCharacterList.com.
Always,
like without fail. Even if it's something that doesn't look like it's been on his site before, like it's just like, nope, that's linked. What, Matt? Stop it! Like, you own every image of Skylanders on Google. Stop it.
I know, because sometimes I'm like, I need a bigger one, and like he starts like only one exists. God dang it, Matt! Like
300 by 300. That is 100% Matt standards. And Matt, we love you for it, but you need to release your monopoly grip on the images. Man, warlord over there. So what's going on with Skylanders other than the amazing Easter variants?
Yeah, so we definitely got those Easter variants. They did come out at Amazon, as truth be told, they did. Shipped on Monday, I guess they were. They released on Sunday. It's weird that Amazon says stuff releases on Sunday, and then then we'll ship it on Monday. Then why don't you just say it releases on Monday, you weirdos?
Well, if you remember correctly, Jason, the last time we did a podcast, we talked about them being released on March 1st.
Right.
And then the next day,
yeah,
Amazon's like, nah.
Nah, bro. But But yeah, so it was weird that they actually had these weird. I don't even say temporary exclusives because they're not, but Amazon's always like a month behind, and they're like, "No, we got this now. We got this. We got this 20% Prime discount. We want to make sure you use it, even though it doesn't work for the Easter variants at first." But yeah, so they did ship out last week. They came in for me on Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I got mine yesterday.
Yep, Matt got his today. But I actually don't know if he got him today. You're supposed to get him today, so it's in the game.
He shouldn't have been so skeptical.
Yeah, right?
That's his fault.
Yeah. But yeah, so it came on Tuesday. Then the first non-Amazon finding of them was at Toys R Us Puerto Rico, because why not? And then they've been showing up at Toys R Us stores now. I don't think anyone's seen the dive bomber vehicle anywhere yet, but just the figure, which again is weird. But the thing about these things, some people hate the mold for Excited Thrillpeat. I think it's phenomenal.
Yep.
The packaging is unbelievable. The things, I don't even know what it's the size of. It's ridiculously large, unnecessarily large.
If you've seen the packaging of the Hulkbuster Disney Infinity figure, it's bigger than that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I keep looking at it now. I should have took the measurements on it. But do they only fit 4 in a box now? I don't know. They're so huge.
I'm pretty sure it's 1 per box. They just if Amazon's packatoning, then it's definitely 1 per box.
I wish Toys R Us New York City was around, because they'd be able to hang 2 on a peg hook. they're so, because those peg hooks up there were so short and narrow. It's you lose so much shelf space. But yeah, they're massive and awesome. The plastic parts at the bottom's not foldable, so it's still a solid piece. You could pour water in that, use it as a cup if you really wanted to. Mm-hmm. It's not really that thick of plastic, but it's hold up for a candy dish or something. I don't know. But it's awesome. It's well worth the price just for the packaging alone. But yeah, they're super awesome. So those are available now. Again, available at Amazon, showing up at Toys R Us, and should be at all retailers soon.
I have a weird gripe.
Yes. And
it is super specific to just the figure I got. But mine came in from Amazon. I have found the Excited Thrillipede at my Toys R Us also. But the one that came from Amazon, so I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, this thing looks so cool. I was just in love with it. Just amazing looking, right? And then I'm looking at it, and something weird is going on, and I can't quite figure it out. So then I open it up, and there is a giant, nasty black hair in the packaging.
Get out!
No, it was gross, dude.
That's a real bunny. It's a real bunny. You got the flocked edition.
No, bunny's hairs are not that long. It was gross, and I'm not a fan of other people's hair.
Tell Val to step the frick back, and
if it was a sealed package, and I was like, that's gross. What could have happened in the packaging process to where this giant hair got shoved inside and wrapped around my Excited Thrillipede? It was kind of gross, man. Not gonna lie.
Gross.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. You talked about the little paint chips and all the little tiny minor imperfections that you just deal with, but giant hair that.
You should find a dead animal or something. But...
That's true. I guess it could be worse, but yeah. So that's my exciting story with it. Exciting.
Jeez Louise. Yeah. So and then in addition to that news that broke out today, some guy I love how this guy found it, put it up on eBay, and already knew it's worth money. So he, I don't say worth money, but knew what he had was early. Someone did find a Power Blue figures and put them up on at eBay. They're at $75 a piece right now.
Ouch.
Or best offer.
Ooh.
But
12.
Yeah. $15.99. But yeah, all the 4 Power Blue figures and vehicles. So we're getting Power Blue Splat, Power Blue Trigger Happy, Power Blue Splatter Splasher, and Power Blue Gold Rusher. So Splat in her vehicle and Trigger Happy in his vehicle. So been much debate about what these were for, what they were going to look like, anything like that. To be fair, they're pretty darn powder blue.
They are super powder blue, man.
They're super powder blue.
Yeah. I think the marketing department forgot to add a D in the word power, and they've just been rolling with it because they didn't want to admit that they made a mistake.
Whoops.
But that's totally a powder blue color.
Yeah, 100%.
I was expecting more of a darker royal blue type of color.
Right. But yeah, so there are these power blue things. Again, they're coming to all stores. But the rationale behind them, or reason why they exist, or I should say too. Let me describe them too. The figures are like a light blue, and all the accent points, like the wheels and the nozzles and the seats, everything else is a pure like Arctic white. And then Splat is picture a Smurf in a Skylanders form, and there you go. This is yes, this is legal in line 1. But it's a whole entire thing. It changes her base. It changes the figure design of the plastic pieces. So I don't know if she's gonna smell like cool mint this time or something. But
blueberry.
And then like some of the other vehicles, yeah, they're all same again with this accent points, but they look sweet. Oh, I made a mistake in my article. I said the stickers were the same version, but I actually saw a different picture that shows a different color on it.
Yep, the pictures that Matt have, they are different stickers, my friend.
Because the one Gold Rusher, it looks like it's the same because the background's the same. And that's why I took that, and I just looked at Splatter Spasher, and the vehicle is definitely different in the sticker.
Yeah, the white, I can't tell if all the white is like it or just some of the white, but it's that pearl iridescent white that was used for the Thrillipede variant, and that we've seen, used a couple other times. It doesn't look like just a plain white. It has some shine to it.
Yeah, it's flat versus shiny with the Thrillipede. It's a flat color, but
is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's shiny.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at the Splat right now.
The Splat may be. I'm like the Gold Rusher is.
Yeah, like the wheels. That's what I'm saying. Like it almost looks like there's like the regular white, but then they also have like the iridescent.
I got you.
Pearl white also.
I got you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so so the big question about whether these were a Skylanders lore, or what the rationale behind all these things are.
How they would explain the existence of these things.
Yes. So we were all wrong from a million miles away.
To be fair, we were basing it off of like the norms of Skylanders.
Right, which this is funny because I tweeted this before it even happened, but I'll retweet out my picture of Sheldon chucking the papers in the air because good Lord knows, like, who would have predicted this? But yeah, so they're all they're supporting Autism Speaks. And it's part of their campaign called, let me pull it up here, Lighted Up Blue. So that's what the Power Blue is for. So it's a cross-charity promotion there. So I assume some of the funds on there, but it doesn't really say anything about, any kind of, I'm sure it'll be in a press release or anything like that. But I assume part of the proceeds are going to it. But if not, it might just be a marketing campaign per se. But
yeah, if it's just to raise awareness, like, that's a good step. If some of the proceeds are going to the charity, that's even better.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, who would have called that?
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah.
So I must digress to a point because it's going to come up and someone's going to write in or someone's going to tweet it. Yes. Autism Speaks has somewhat of a bad rep to it. There's some people who can't stand the organization or charity or stuff like that. And I understand the points are valid. But we won't get into the entire debate with it. But obviously, it's there. But I'll challenge you on the reverse side, saying that there is no perfect charity. Every charity has a dark side, and there is some bad side to it all. I am somewhat in the light of, to get on a deep side note here. It's like boycotting stuff drives me nuts. Because if you're that moral about something, you better boycott every single thing in your life because everything is tainted by something, So
unless you're Amish, like you probably support something that may not be the most ethical,
right?
In some way, shape, or form. And if you are Amish and you're listening to this podcast,
how you doing?
Yeah, what's up? Email us.
What's up? Hit me up later. I'm in your territory. But yeah, it's guarantee you part of your food's coming from children, comes from sweatshops, all kinds of stuff. For better or for worse, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying it's, no matter what you do, there's going to be a downside that you can find in every single organization, everything there. So not defending them either, but I'm saying don't not buy them because you're now just going to be like, well, I hate the organization. I still, you can argue that their tactics might not be proper and stuff like that. And I completely understand all of the arguments there. And I understand, I agree with part of you on there, but I still think getting word out there is still more important than anything else. So, again, if it wasn't for Autism Speaks, to be honest, autism would not be on the radar for anybody. So,
and if you are 100% against this charity, these are variants. You have the option to not support them and what they're doing with Skylanders by not buying them. Simple as that. They're not preventing you from having core characters in the game. As a completionist collector, you may want them and you may have your qualms about the charity, but that's a moral decision that you'll have to make on your own.
Right.
End of the day, they're variants. They don't affect your ability to enjoy this game any less, and don't let whatever they're attached to keep you away from what I personally think are really cool looking variants. Like, these are very well done. They're not just dipped in blue paint and called good. Like, they put some thought and care into making these look really, really cool.
Right. And if you don't like the charity, do what I do different times when I'm in a situation where I want to buy something but support something I don't necessarily agree with. Donate that equal amount to somebody else. Boom, call it even.
Yeah.
So, like, again, this could be supporting a political campaign for a candidate I completely despise. I would still buy it. So,
well,
no, I'm full blunt.
Anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Even that, I guarantee.
Okay.
Gosh, you know me. You know me.
That's like I know you have lines somewhere.
No, because I've gone to like political rallies and like meet and greet events for people I don't agree with, just because it's interesting. Get involved. But
we're not going there. We are not going there. No.
For people who don't know, Josh and I have about a good like hour and a half political discussions pretty much every single day. But
yeah, and the thing is, like, we stayed away from politics for about a year of our relationship. Like, it was just something we never talked about. It was just, like, you don't really talk about politics with people you don't know very well, because the conversations could go really bad really quickly. So we took our time easing into that subject, and once the floodgate got open, man, it's a daily thing with us for sure, especially when there's caucuses happening or debates or anything like that. It's good times.
It's good. I'll say bluntly too to people anyway. I will fully say Josh and I's friendship relationship is like what everybody should be like. Him and I do not agree on everything by any means. We disagree on a lot of different issues, but we respect each other for it, because that's what you should do. Don't be freaking hating on everybody, because what's the point?
Right.
I digress.
These look cool. I
phenomenal.
Really like the look of them.
Which one's your favorite? Do you think?
Splat.
You think so? I like Splat. For some reason, I really, really, really. That's why I chose it as the picture of what's it called? The Gold Rusher. I don't know why. I just really like it. It looks like a snowmobile to me or something.
Like Trigger Happy, I like. It just like, man, I don't know. Like, Splat herself just looks like there was more attention to like the color scheme than any of the other. Maybe it's just her paintbrush wand. I don't know.
The paintbrush wand is unreal. I can't believe they changed that too. That shocked me.
Right.
Like, everything on this is completely changed. It's unreal.
I mean, the Gold Rusher and Trigger Happy, I think I'm just excited to finally have in game. In any capacity. Plus, when I'm looking at the close-up pictures of his hand, like, there's some weird little paint defects and that we've seen on pretty much all of the figures, but the white engines with the blue bases around them look amazing. I'm so excited for these.
I will say this. I'll go on record and I'll say this. If Splat smells differently than her normal version, I'll buy at least 10 to give away on our podcast. At least 10. Quote me on that. If it's somehow if they change the smell on it, I'm done, and I'm buying them out the wazoo, and I'm going upper style.
Now, when you say just to clarify, because there's going to be people writing in, when you say change the smell, does eliminating the vanilla smell, not vanilla, was she strawberry? No, bubblegum. Whatever. Does eliminating smell
No, it has to give out a odor and a different odor.
Okay, so a different smell, not just a lack of smell.
Correct.
Okay, so like a blueberry.
Yeah, if they went that far and did something, I'm done with you.
And then
I'll
beautiful
forgive you
thing
for
is,
not having an exclusive kids meal card.
the beautiful thing is like they're just doing that random little stuff and not ever even mentioning it.
Yeah, if they same thing. Like if they do that, I'm going to E3. I'm like, I don't care about whatever your new game you're announcing. I want you to tell me who made the decision to make it smell different, and I need to talk to him ASAP and tell him how he's my new hero of my life. And ask him what his first name is so I can name my firstborn after him. Or her.
Yeah, it can go her. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so Matt, I know you're listening. When you actually get these in hand, please give Splat the smell test. And if Splat smells differently than the original Splat that we know and love already, Jason is buying at least 10 to give away for this podcast.
Maybe I'll make that Mama Greer's first thing. I'll have her do the official smell test.
Yeah, because maybe we need somebody that's unbiased, that hasn't been smelling Splat already.
Plus, she's really fun when I spring random things on her. She's a lot.
Mom, smell this.
Yeah, she's like, what? I'm like, just do it. Don't ask questions. Like, okay. Like, my mom's too hard.
Oh man, those look so cool. I'm so happy that they look good.
Yep.
I
might buy double of these also, just because again the packaging's so great.
Mm-hmm. And they're in-game variants, so they will play and look differently in the game.
Yep.
Right. We know that. Release date?
No idea. At least March 1st.
So that's still tentatively what we're thinking.
Yeah.
So excited. No exclusive that we know of anywhere?
Nope.
Okay. I think after we're done here with this podcast, I am going to attempt to reach out to the charity, Autism Speaks, and see if we can get any official comment on these. We know how difficult Skylanders is to get official comment from.
Do they even have a PR department?
I'm not sure who runs their Twitter account. Whoever it is does not know anything, or they're told stuff very, very late.
They queue up all their tweets back in like July and just let it roll.
Like, yeah, they hire somebody for a week just to make a year of tweets. And then they just put what approximate dates they think stuff is going to start showing up in stores. Did you know that Smash Hit can now be found in stores, Jason?
It's like Skylanders is the slow bro meme of Twitter accounts.
Let's talk about Frightful Fiesta, because that's really interesting on the Twitters. No, I
was like, wait, they just talked about that?
A couple weeks ago, they had a tweet about Frightful Fiesta, and I'm like, what? What are you doing? Like, that was launch day variant.
See if we could find it. Like January 29th.
Yeah. See?
He's frightful and delightful.
I can't make this stuff up, man. Like, it's all there. Just go through their Twitter account and just look at how crazy off they are with where their tweets fall into. Makes no sense. And I love them for it. What else do we got going on with Skylanders?
Yeah, so the other big thing, still loving Battlecasting, so they pushed an update out this week. To people who have the quote-unquote preview edition, if you live in another country, or act like you're going to live in another country. But I feel like I'm like the CIA of my different identities.
I'm sure the CIA is watching you.
I guarantee you they are. Did we ever talk about the CIA story when they came to my house one time?
I don't think so.
It's not a story for this podcast, but
that'll be our next AMA, I'm sure.
It wasn't CIA; it was the National Defense. That's what it was.
Oh.
But Homeland Security. Homeland Security was the name. Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, so they pushed out a couple of new things. One, they did add another Earth level to it, like another realm to it, and I guess that's what they're trying to do to make sure that like, you know, the people with this preview editions aren't like beating the entire game before it comes out. I guess maybe, or maybe they're still playtesting that stuff because I do hit numerous bugs. So I think they're just slowly rolling content out. But they two of the bigger things that they did change the layout of some stuff. Thankfully, the main menu screen now actually looks like, and you understand it. It looked really basic beforehand, and now it looks kind of like a game.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, but it seems like now it doesn't match at all. Like it's kind of weird. But but they do make some stuff quicker to get to and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. I haven't seen if the scroller is any quicker, but please hope it is. Then the other big thing is they changed the character selection screen. This is the screen you hit before you enter the game. You choose what your Skylanders characters you want to use. Before you had to kind of choose from the different tap on the elements and zip around. Now it's a giant, like I call it, like the album preview to cover art. If you ever use like an iPod where you could turn it sideways and see all different album covers.
Oh yeah,
it's very much like that. You can just scroll through them all. It's real quick. So you can kind of jump around real quick, and it's much nicer, much nicer.
Cool.
It's really like that. And then the big thing that they added, which I'm really excited that they added this in there, is a daily spin mechanism. And so if you go to the store, you always have the battle pack and the booster pack options you could buy. And it's a new item at the bottom, and it costs 40 coins. It's called a daily spin, and then there is like you get a check mark if you do it each day, and then on the last day it says super spin, which I have no idea what that is, but it sounds fun. But yeah, you get 40 coins, put it in there, and then it's 50, excuse me, 50. You spin it. And so you put the 50 coins in, you spin around, and you get a different prize. But it's like a roulette reel, and this is what happened to me the first time. I actually got 20 coins, so you lost 30 coins taking the gamble on it.
Okay.
But there is 50 coins, so you can come out even. I don't know why they didn't make it like 60 or 55. At least leave your reward, not just like an even keel.
Right.
But then there are like different cards you can get in a pack. So I don't know how random it is versus how actually routine it is, but technically it's supposed to be random. So it's kind of a fun thing to do in there. It's something to do each day. Again, it's 50 coins, which is a decent amount. It's not like you get that in one game, but something fun to actually do in there. So I'll definitely be doing it each day.
Sure. Have you been able to play it enough to know if it improved the battery life at all?
I played it to yesterday, disconnected, and if it did, it was marginal.
Okay.
Still eating it out alive.
Sure.
It seems a lot snappier though,
Mhm.
and again, I don't know if that's just me, just me, discressing or something, but it seems snappier. A couple of times it did lag, and I had to force quit out of it and then start it up again. But at different times it felt a lot quicker. So maybe they're getting a little bit snappier. Which if that's the case, it could potentially improve battery life as it might quicken up the game, the amount of games you can put in.
Right. Well, on behalf of everybody that's excited to play Battlecast, I have to thank you for beta testing it for us and allowing them to work out the kinks before we common folk actually get a chance to check it out and play with it for ourselves. So
yeah, I get to talk to one of the developers all the time on Twitter, and it's super fun. So it's great too because he's always just tweeting out anything I talk about it,
Mhm.
and I love how passionate you are about this thing because I'm so excited for this thing.
right. I'm sure like that's a weird feeling knowing that it's out like in one little portion of the world and it still is yet to see like mainstream release, but
Right.
like it's so close and
Yeah.
you're updating it because you're getting feedback from the people that are playing it, but it's just like, man, they want everybody to be playing this right now and be excited. So
And it's so bizarre too because when I do like find a player, it takes like 5 minutes to find somebody because again, there's probably like 200 people playing this game right now.
right.
And so sometimes I'm like, I wonder if there's like an alert like for the developers if like no one's playing, if it sends an alert like, hey, this guy's trying to find somebody, because like there's different times I play people have like a legit username and I'm like, how do you get that?
Sure.
Like, mine's still like Ninjini023 or something, and I'm like, I don't want to be Ninjini.
Oh, poor Jason. I feel so sorry.
Yeah, you know.
Cool. Anything else with Skylanders?
Not particularly.
Awesome. Well, I say we move on to the community question and the trivia question, both of which are sponsored by our friend Ken. You can find him on Twitter at ProudGamerTweet. And then he's, of course, in charge of our fantastic Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/toys4games. And he's helping out a lot behind the scenes with getting some stuff worked out and organized and whatnot. And you'll be meeting up with him at the meet and greet coming up here quick, right?
Yeah, I mean, a week from tomorrow. Well, a week from Saturday, technically.
New York City, represent.
Let's do it.
It's going to be fun. So the community question I had this week was, what's the most important aspect to the Toys to Life genre for you personally? Like, what makes you invest, collect, etc.? Because I was kind of thinking about how Fabulous Beasts is, trying to be like the evolution, the next step in the Toys to Life genre. And I was like, well, what is it going to take for people to want to get into this? Is it the game? Is it the collectibles? All kinds of really good, honest answers. Let me pull up here. Collecting the figures, the hunt, the functionality, the value, just a wide range of answers, whether it's like seeing their kids happy because they're enjoying it, all kinds of crazy stuff. So
yeah, I was saying the one I read through them, you know, all the time and trying to find some different ones. The ones that one of the ones that stuck out to me the most was Westeros, saying Verity and the Unexpected. I thought that was a really, really interesting idea. I'm like, you know what? Actually, I think that actually is what I enjoy the most. Like just that shock of different things happening, you know?
Right.
Even if it gets ruined, like the shock of Baloo coming or stuff like that, you know?
Sure.
It's so the shock element of it all is a pretty fun thing. And again, like the Power of Blue stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, and that was what, I mean, again, that was what was fun with the leak, you know, Power Blue for months. We're like, what is this Power Blue going to be? So, you know, if it came out now, we're like, this is really random and weird. You know, like I think they're going to do even better just because we've had this year of, you know, trying to figure out what these things were.
Right. And even if we sit here and try to predict what's going to come next, what stuff is going to look like once we actually know, like that's the most exciting part, you know, like,
right.
You know, I kind of poke fun at the people that were so excited to see the Super Smash Bros. Amiibo when they were like the first time you would actually get to see the figure, because it's based off of the in-game trophy that you get of that character. Like the pose, everything is exactly the same, but still like seeing it, you know, like that first time, like that is exciting. Like that is really cool. Even for things that you know about. And then the unexpected part, you know, like Lego Dimensions, Portal, Doctor Who, you know, Wizard of Oz. Like, who could have predicted that? Nobody, you know.
Yeah, I love everybody all the time. Like, well, they're probably talking about the Portal, like, the base, like the
Right.
Portal base. Like, no, it's Portal the game. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And even with Skylanders, you know, after 4 years, we're just like, we know the patterns, we know the habits, we know exactly what they're going to do, we know how many variants are going to be, we know what to expect, when to expect it, and they're just like, no, you don't. No, we're changing it up.
20 figures and 20 vehicles.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a great answer. Jason.
Yes, sir.
It's that time.
Love this time.
It's the Inquire This segment.
I'm amped. I'm focused in tonight.
Good. You're going to need it. This, of course, where we present you a trivia question. You, the expert, try to answer it as best as you possibly can. You've only been stumped a couple times. To your credit.
Last week I blanked, man.
Yeah, I think you were tired last week. This week, you know, we're going in. It's early. You're getting hyped up about Deadpool. Like all kinds of things are going on here. So, this one was submitted from your friend Different Kind of Geek.
Yes.
It's an Amiibo question.
Uh-oh.
Can you name all of the Amiibo that are still store exclusives and the store that they are exclusive to?
Get out of here.
Now I went through, because he sent this in a little while ago, and things have changed since then. So I'm pretty sure I have an accurate list here. I'm like 99% sure. But let me at least give you the number to shoot for here, because I think that'll help. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13.
Jeez Louise. 13
Amiibo are still, as we know it, exclusive to stores.
Oh my gosh. All right. All right, so me Fighters 3-pack. That's definitely one.
Okay.
The Retro 3-pack.
You have to say the stores too, by the way.
Oh, and do those count as Amiibo? Is that 3 or is that like is that?
No.
Like...
I count that as 1.
Dang it!
Because they're in one.
Right.
Sorry,
right.
You're not almost done.
Me Fighters 3-pack at Toys R Us.
Okay.
Retro 3-pack at GameStop.
Okay.
Trying to think of, because the rest of Toys R Us is went through. GameStop, did Ness? No, Ness is not. No, so yeah, still Ness. Ness, that's 3.
That's a GameStop.
That's it on
And
games.
we're talking just United States.
Oh, yeah.
So just in case people are out there like screaming about certain ones being at other, no, we're just focusing on United States retailers and exclusives.
All right. Let's see. Best Buy had Mennonite and Falco. Falco definitely is not. That's 4. Then Mennonite? No, Mennonite did not. That's 5.
Okay. Doing
Okay,
good so far.
Let's move on to another retailer. Who else we got? Target. Target had good old our good friend Rosalina. Her sign's still hanging up, so
that must mean she's still exclusive.
Must mean she's still exclusive. That's 6, right?
Yeah.
6?
Yeah.
Walgreens never got Dr. Mario, so that's still Target. So that's 7. All right. So we got Walmart. Gold Mario.
Yeah.
8.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
For some reason I thought you might miss that one.
I'm trying to think through all the different stores. Done. Okay. Smash Brothers Amiibo 2. Who else? Oh, Amazon. Amazon has Palutena or Palatuna, whatever.
Palatina.
There it is. I always want to say Tunya. Like
I know.
I don't know. So that's that. So that's what, 9. Then who else? Amazon had. Who else did they have? I don't think there's anybody else in Smash. And we got Chibi Robo, and Amazon still. Do we count that because it's in the bundle?
I will count that.
Okay.
I counted it. The single character is only exclusive to Amazon, so.
Right, that's fair. Is there any Animal Crossings? Because the only one left, because that was just Target's
Right.
thingamabobber.
Lottie
left. There's no Splatoon, no Chibi Robo. Or I said Chibi. I mean, there's no Shovel Knight. Skylanders doesn't count.
Especially if you're asking Amiibo fans.
Mario Maker. What else did we get? The Yarn Yoshis weren't fun. Oh, Mega Yarn Yoshi Toys R Us.
Ooh.
That was a close one. That was a close one.
You almost missed that one.
Oh man.
Especially after just talking about him too.
Yeah. I'm sitting there like trying to go. Same thing I always do. Where I just go through the displays in my head, which is harder now because they're all mixed up.
Yeah.
I think it's it.
You're missing 2.
Missing 2 still.
Missing 2.
What the fudge? What am I missing? Maybe. Oh, ones that didn't come out yet. See, well, here's the thing.
Nope.
Oh.
They are currently released, available for purchase if you could find them. Amiibo.
Get out.
I wouldn't pull a trick question on you.
Because the 8-bits are not anymore.
Correct.
There's nobody else in Super Smash.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Who am I to tell you?
I can't think of anybody else. Because the other exclusives that we got were. I'm trying to remember back now too. Because Lucario was at Toys R Us. He moved on.
You need to phone a friend here.
No.
Okay.
No. Rob and Lucina were not.
They weren't any store.
No, that's what I'm trying to think of, like hard to find ones. Greninja was Toys R Us. He moved on. Yeah, I'm done. I can't think of anybody else.
There was an exclusive at Toys R Us and an exclusive at Best Buy.
Toys R Us. There's the Villager, which doesn't count.
Nope.
And then Yarn Yoshi in the 3-pack. Oh, Bowser Jr.
Yep, Bowser Jr.
Darn it. Best Buy. I remember they had Meta Knight and they had Falco.
Mm-hmm. One in between both those.
Who did they have? Not gonna pick up on it.
You surrender. You wave
I
the white
surrender.
flag.
I surrender.
Dark Pit.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about Dark Pit. No, I guess it didn't come out anywhere else, did it?
No. That's it. Just Best Buy.
Huh.
To be fair, I probably would have forgot that one also.
Yeah.
Good job, though.
Thank you.
You did a heck of a job, just off memory. Although, I would have gave you some serious grief if you forgot Mega Yarn Yoshi.
Yeah.
That was the one you had to get right, especially considering it's on the show notes. So.
I always, for some reason, yeah. I always forget about Dark Pit.
Yeah. Most people do. That's why it's so emo. Moving on to the email section. Emails are sponsored by our friend Michael O'Driscoll. You can follow him over on Twitter at amiibo_museum. Great guy. He is into most things that we're into. Like everything that we collect, he's probably into also. I know his girlfriend is now into Tsum Tsums. So
Nice.
yeah, that's a whole can of worms that he opened up, probably because of us. So sorry, Michael, but I'm sure she'll love him. First email, as alluded to before, this is from our friend Brett. It says, "Aloha, gentlemen. I hope you're doing well with this week. My question is, are you guys completionists? Do you try to 100% your Toys to Life games? I am attempting to 100% LEGO Dimensions by collecting all of the gold bricks, but I have a long way to go. Yes, Josh, I do love LEGO Dimensions and mostly everything LEGO. Mahalo, Brett." So how do you play these games, Jason?
Yeah, so I originally I got different times I'll get like start up, I'm like, oh, I'm totally gonna do everything, but then it just like you just get so distracted by the figures and everything else that I just never go back. LEGO Dimensions is gonna be a little bit harder, I think. Especially with all the level packs now, I get extra achievements with everything. But like Disney Infinity, I think is the shortest one to 3.0, at least, so it's 100%.
Yeah.
So I could wrap that one up soon. I forget what I still have on that one. I think just doing feats. Just have to do a couple others random stuff, but I would love to. It's something that it's a goal to try and get them all, but at this time I don't.
Sure. And you know, like the it has to be pointed out that 100%ing the game does not equate to getting like the platinum trophy or the perfect gamer score, because you could do all that without 100%ing the game, you know. So that's kind of what I go for. I don't have time to collect 420 gold bricks in LEGO Dimensions.
Come on, man.
As much as I'd love to, there's no way I'm going to be able to. So like once I hit the platinum trophy, like I'm not going to have much reason to go back to that game, except just to, you know, dig around, play around, but I'm not going to be like obsessing over every gold brick. Skylander Superchargers, I am waiting to play my Nightmare run.
I forgot they have the Nightmare. Oh
yeah,
gosh.
I'm waiting for all the characters to come out because I love playing as all the characters, you know, having the option to. But if I do the Nightmare run now, there's going to be characters that continue to come out that I probably will never play as, you know, because once that's done, I'm not going to go back to that game as much as I'd like to later on. So I'm kind of waiting for all the core base characters to come out.
Sure.
Trigger Happy, Gold Rusher, Thrillipede. Once those do, then I'm going to do my Nightmare run and call it good and have fun with all the characters that are out and available to play. And the Disney Infinity, like the play sets and everything is what my focus has been. So I'm not super concerned about 100%ing that game, but crazier things have happened. There's just so many other games that I play and enjoy that aren't Toys to Life that I just sinking in all that time to 100% these specific games is so hard. Right. Next email is from a friend John Crocker. Writes in and says, "Thank you so much for discussing my question on the last podcast regarding Lego Star Wars Force Awakens. You both had some insights that I had not yet considered, especially regarding TT Games having the opportunity to go more in-depth with the story than in a compilation. That discussion led to a follow-up question. Let's compare Disney Infinity to Lego. We got Force Awakens immediately at movie release with Disney Infinity, but the content was basically a condensed playthrough of the movie story, and that was the limit of our content. Lego's game will be coming out 6 months later, but looks to have more in-depth content, plus they are delving into prelude stories and even stories that answer some questions from the movie. While I will always love the style of play that comes in a Disney Infinity playset, I am much more intrigued by the content possibilities in the Lego game. What do you think Disney should or could do to prop up the Force Awakens content in Infinity? Thanks."
Yeah, it's hard to say because obviously that thing was going to sell 5, 10, 20 times better if it was released on launch day than it would be 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously they were very restricted what they could do. I'm sure even them, they didn't even know everything was going to be happening. So
right.
So it's a little bit hard. I defended them a couple times. I think they did the best they could in the position that they were in, especially something like that where they didn't know anything about the movie. They didn't really see much of the movie. It's a hard position on there. So, maybe they could do like a free expansion down the road or something. I don't know, but in the position that they were in, I think they did the best thing. I think it was the best business decision, and for for the fans as well.
Yeah.
I think it's much better to have it now than if we had the Disney Infinity Force Awakens playset when that's coming out. I don't think anybody would have liked that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if there's much that they can or should do to prop up the content in the game. People are going to be drawn to it if they want to. People are going to want those figures if they want them or not. The people that are going to be purchasing the Lego Star Wars game and not own Disney Infinity is probably because they just like playing the Lego versions of the games, and they may not be fans of the Toys to Life genre as it is. So, Disney Infinity did what they could with what they were able to do story-wise and whatnot. I'm sure they didn't have very much leniency expanding on that just because it would have meant that they knew a lot about the story well beforehand, which doesn't seem like many people did at all. So, yeah, other than like the light effects, Kylo Ren, rejuvenating people's interest that way, I don't know what they could do to necessarily try to outshine the Lego Star Wars game, but I don't know if Disney's even concerned with doing that, to be honest.
Right. I don't think they are.
Like, this is just going to be its own separate thing, and Disney's sitting back raking in the money either way. So, yeah, I don't think they're in a position to where they have to worry about it.
Not one bit.
Next email is from DMU Girl. She has some rapid fire questions, but first says, "Just wanted to mention that I'm really loving Boba Fett, though it took me a few minutes to work out how to fly in the game." Disney Infinity, of course. Her questions, she says, "Is the latest finance report something to worry about?"
The latest what?
The latest finance report, something to worry about.
From Disney?
Yes.
No.
For Disney Infinity.
No, I think it's still fine.
Yeah. What attacks do you think Mad Hatter, Alice, and Time will have?
Time's hard to say since we haven't got anything, much screen time of him.
Mm-hmm.
Mad Hatter will be interesting, though. I think he can do all kinds of fun, different attacks to it. But, yeah, I don't know. But that's what I think, too. Doing the modern applications of them, I think, opens it up greater than doing the classic versions.
Right.
So, definitely a little bit more attack power with it.
Yeah. I would like to see Alice maybe like have the growing and shrinking ability.
Oh yeah,
Especially with what we presume Ant-Man will have. in the game, because we don't know, because they haven't officially confirmed he exists. But if that's going to be involved in his makeup and abilities, you'd think that they could translate over to Alice too, which could be fun. Depending on what the playset might hold, if there is one.
Right.
Does it seem sane to you that here in the UK it is currently cheaper to import Battlegrounds from the USA than to buy it at a Game? Of course, Game is a retailer over there.
Right. So I don't know if the standard edition, like the standard $29.99 price, would correlate the same over there or not. I think it was still $29.99 just because they like to keep the numbers the same, even though it's not really the same for conversion rates. But again, it's a retailer decision right now. It's actually not Disney's pushed as much. So it's not. I wouldn't be upset at Disney. It's just retailers are trying to take the kick for it. So, but yeah, it is funny that it is cheap. It would be cheaper to import it than it would be just to purchase at your store.
Right. Which we've kind of seen with Amiibo in some aspects.
Right.
Not necessarily buying them from the store, but just because for a while you couldn't find them in stores, so importing them was cheaper than buying them like on eBay or something locally. So just funny how the world works sometimes. Last email is from our friend BDK. He says, Amazon has been killing it with all these new Skylander releases, from the Easter variants to the Land Racing Action Pack.
No doubt.
I normally like to buy my Skylanders from Best Buy because Gamers Club unlocked, which is why I'm trying so hard to resist the temptation of buying the Easter variants from Amazon. But man, Jason, you sure know how to tempt a guy. He says, in parentheses, I still don't regret my decision to buy Surge.
Yeah.
Excited Thrillipede and Spring Ahead Dive Bomber both look amazing, especially the former. I never thought they could pull off another white figure as beautiful as Nightlight and Spotlight, but I was wrong. It's a shame that I'll never open him when I get him, because I love the Easter packaging so much. I still have the Swap Force Easter egg figures in their packages and refuse to open them. The only one I did open was the Easter Earth Trap because I needed it for the game. Anyway, while I'm avoiding temptation with Amazon's release of this year's Easter variants and the Land Racing Action Pack, as well as Combo Pack number 3, are currently being offered for 20% off. So do you think I should spring for these right now, or should I wait? And then he says, P.S. Is it just me, or does looking at the Power Blue variants make me want to chug down some blue Gatorade? Just like Power Punch Pop Fizz made me want to chug down some Tiki Punch.
It's true. Yeah, the Amazon thing is just so out of anywhere, and I forgot to mention that earlier, but yeah, the Land Racing Action Pack is up for pre-order, shipping out on Monday from Amazon. So
wait, it's shipping out on Monday?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Swear to God, do you ever read...
No, I don't. Sorry, it wasn't in the headline. I missed it.
There's funny truth to the story. But they, so it's interesting that Amazon's getting, it's not even like they went to like getting closer. It's like they're now out ahead. You know what I mean? It's so weird with the Skylanders releases, because again, before Amazon would be like a month late, Right. So it's not even like they're like a week late. They're now early. So I don't know if it's pressure on Toys R Us, or if things, if they up the ante or something. If something's happening weird behind the scenes. Yeah. Maybe Toys R Us or Amazon's like, yo, we're losing money on this. I don't know, but
just as of like a month ago, they were still behind in the releases.
Right.
So what has drastically changed all of a sudden? I know,
and that's what's weird. You couldn't even pre-order the vehicles, till today. You could friggin', get the Easter variants, but you couldn't get the vehicles. But it's so weird, because you get the 20% off, which is like, oh, this is great, but it's like so uneventful. Like that's one of my favorite part about having like the not, like, people complain about not having scheduled releases with Skylanders, and I understand that completely. Mm-hmm. But man, there's nothing like a feeling going into the store, not sure if they're gonna have it, and then they actually have it. Right. Like it's great. And now it's kind of like, sweet, that's over. Now it's gotta wait 2 days for it to come, and then they're like, sweet, it's just not as fun.
Or forgetting that they're even out, and then just randomly browsing and being like, oh wow, that came out. I totally forgot about that. That's awesome. But at the same time, you have people like Matt, who has to drive 8 hours to his local Toys R Us, and then shows up and they just haven't got him in yet, because they should, but they haven't. So, there's downsides to it, but yeah, you're right. Like that the thrill is missing a little bit when you could just easily order them and have them before anybody else.
Right.
But do what you gotta do, man. Like, if you like them and you want them and you need them right now, go for it. Pfft, we don't judge here. Hard, at least.
Judge?
Sometimes we judge a little bit. We just won't tell you about it. Jason, that was our last email, my friend. You know what that means, right?
What does that mean?
It means the show's over.
Oh.
I know. But, you get to, turn off your mic, and you get to go pick up Vince, and you get to go watch Deadpool. So, things could be worse.
I texted him. I said, "Hey, we're wrapping up the email section, so I'll be leaving shortly." He goes, "Okay, sweet. I just woke up." Like, what? Vince, what are you doing, bro?
Usually, when I text Val that we're in the email section and we're wrapping up, she's like, "Okay, good. I'll see you in an hour." Like,
oh man.
I mean, to be fair, sometimes it is our longest portion of the podcast.
It's very true. It's very true. I know it. And that's the thing. I was like, oh, shoot, I actually need to get gas. I'm probably going to stuff for hot chocolate or something on the way, but who knows? I'm about to stuff my face with popcorn. I'm still tempted to stop at Taco Bell and try to sneak in some tacos just for kicks and giggles, but I probably won't.
If they're not selling chimichangas at theaters, I think it's the biggest wasted marketing opportunity ever.
Right. I know. I was gonna go to my local Penn Cinema, local movie theater. I'm like, yo, you're Penn. Listen, we're having chimichangas tonight, right? Like that's a thing.
Well, sir, I hope you enjoy the movie. I can't wait to see it, and I hope you have a good birthday weekend. Like
Thanks,
Valentine's Day, everybody's worrying about what to get their significant others and everything, and then you're just like, nah, man, it's my birthday.
It's gonna be good fun. It's Yeah, so I always go somewhere for my, we always have a family tradition of having a birthday dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And couple years ago, once I've had my birthday, in the last 5 years, I've had my birthday party at, birthday dinner at Olive Garden, which is, that's a little bit classy, I guess.
Sure, we'll call it that.
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay. Yeah.
One year I had it at Cece's Pizza, the pizza buffet place.
All right.
And I forget what other place I had it recently at, but this year we're having at Go and Bananas, which is a kids family fun center that just opened up. It has a ball pit and stuff.
Sure. Yep.
Because I do what I want. I'm a grown man.
I mean, it's your birthday. You can celebrate how you want to.
Got that right. But no, it's because it's one of those go to a nice dinner place and the kids are going to be freaking wild and it's not enjoyable, or just go someplace and let them go wild and just have more fun with it. So it's kind of one of those. I have more fun when the kids are having fun. So
Absolutely.
All my nephews and stuff. So that's why people make fun of me. I'm like, no, legit. I'd much rather go somewhere where they're having fun and we're having fun than going someplace and just telling them constantly to be quiet and sit still,
If you were going to these places without your family and without the kids, maybe somebody could be like, Jason, there might be better places that you can spend your birthday at, but because you love spending so much time with them, that's 100% understandable.
They when we went to Cece's the one time, my sister told them oh yeah, we're having a birthday, so they saw the kids, so they came all excited to sing the birthday to him. My sister's like, no, it's his.
This guy right here.
So they made me stand up in the middle of Cece's, and the Cece's people are like, this is weird.
You're like, you will do this and you will love it. Thank you.
Good fun, man. Turning 26, going to the kids' place. What could be better?
Nothing. You're living the dream. You are living the dream, my
Indeed.
friend. Wow, I was going somewhere with that and I completely forgot. Where can people find you at? Oh no, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Whoa.
I remembered. So your birthday's on Valentine's Day. Did you know that you are the third person I have met that I have close to me that has a birthday on Valentine's Day?
Really?
Yeah. My cousin, who lives just down the road, is also a Valentine's Day baby. And then Valerie's grandma is a Valentine's Day kid. So
That's so bizarre.
yeah, right? Of all the holidays.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember. I'm looking it up real quick. Yeah, because it's July, August, September is the most popular birthday months, the busiest pop. But I don't know if it's just because it's my birthday in there, but I feel like February is just so concentrated also. But there's a lot of people in that weekend I know too. It's just weird.
Super Bowl baby commercial.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I did not know where they were going with that, and then once it played out, I'm like, well done, NFL. Well done.
I was like, it was okay, but third time around, okay, we get it. But
yeah.
Somebody pointed out, once I read this is hilarious to me, that the NFL was pushing a commercial about statistics when they don't care about the concussion statistics. I was like, oh my god, that's pretty funny.
Sad. So if people wanted to celebrate your birthday with you and wish you gratitude for living through another year, where could people find you at and wish you happy birthday?
Yeah, so twitter.com/Jason Inquires is my personal Twitter account. Also on Instagram and YouTube and Periscope with the same name. Now that Instagram has like the multiple account thing, I was tempted to like make different ones, but I was like, it'd be too much hassle. I'm just gonna stick with the one. But
you're thinking about it.
I was, but I weighed the pros and the cons, and
Mm-hmm.
I figured if I keep it singular, it kind of pushes the thing that I keep trying to push, where I want to make like one big happy family, not so split.
Right.
And so now kind of like if you're in Infinity, I make you forced to listen to Skylanders news.
Yeah.
And then obviously also at InfinityInquirer.com, SkylandersInquirer.com, and BrickInquirer.com.
And AmiiboInquirer.com.
That's so good. I haven't even been to that site in a while. Somebody just the other day, let me pull it up here because it's so funny to me. I got a notification on my phone about someone did something on Amiibo Inquirer. I'm like, what the fudge? I was like, I thought I turned all this off. And so I went in and I'm like, what are you talking about? And this guy, shares, yesterday at 8 o'clock. So Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock, reshared a post of mine from February 6th, 2015 of entering to win a Rosalina Amiibo. And this person said, quote, "Ha, no need for that. Already got her." Okay.
Thanks.
From literally a year ago.
Somebody shared a tweet from several months ago when I was giving away a Villager Amiibo, courtesy of our friend Celsai. Decided to share that, and Celsai chimed in. He was like, yeah, that was a long time ago. Maybe you should read the image that you're retweeting before just retweeting."
Like, I'm always curious where people find this stuff. You know,
I don't know.
like regular web pages I can understand, because if you're Googling around or searching stuff, you can get there. Facebook pages maybe somewhat because it works on there, but Twitter's tweets are a little bit harder to find in the search engine.
Yeah, they get very quick.
Yeah, so I have no idea how people find this stuff.
I don't know, man. Power of the internet, I suppose.
It's like same thing with Instagram. Instagram, there's no way to search for like old posts. So like different times people comment on a post like, "Hey, what store did you find this in?" Like something I posted like 4 weeks ago. I'm like, how far behind are you on your like Instagram timeline or something?
Right.
Who knows?
Man, I don't know. You can find me personally on Twitter at The Noise. You can find the show at Toys for Games. You can email us podcast at toysforgames.com. Check out the website, toysforgames.com. Patreon.com/toysforgames if you want to support us over there. Help us out. And Instagram and Periscope and all that fun stuff. Lot of things in the works. Just enjoying life right now, man. Just riding the wave. It's exciting. It's an exciting time. Thank you again to Alex Fleetwood, the studio head of. Oh, I forgot the studio's name. I closed the tab already.
I got you back.
Sensible Object.
There it is.
Yeah, pulled that one off the top of my head. The creators of Fabulous Beasts. It was a pleasure talking to him. And of course, all the information will be on the show notes and on the website and everything. So check that out. Again, if you're interested in supporting them, go to Kickstarter, find them over there. If you just want to help them get the word out about their game, just tweet out the information. Just let people know about it. If you're not interested financially in doing so, other people might. So just help them spread the word. That's the best thing that you could possibly do for them. Unless you have a rich uncle, like you said, and then maybe talk to just your rich uncle and see what he wants to do. But Jason, I hope you have a great birthday, man.
Thank you, sir.
And I can't wait to hear about Deadpool. I expect you to text me tonight when you're done and tell me how amazing it was.
That's true. You're like the only person I could probably text about it.
Yeah, because I'll totally be up. Oh yeah, I'll totally be up. Man, like we're finishing this podcast before the time that we normally actually start recording this podcast. I don't even know what to do with the rest of my evening now. Like, this is all just out of whack for me.
Bizarro.
Yes. But thank you all for listening and supporting us every day. You continue to make our lives better, and we hope that we could do the same for you in whatever way we possibly can. Until next time, happy hunting, collectors.
Chimichanga time!